All right, I'm good. Scoop, are you good?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. With Shane, Brandon, and Scoop. Brandon and Scoop are gonna take this over beyond belief in the next maybe hour, I guess. I don't know how long you guys are gonna blow up about this game. And then Shane's gonna give us some whiteboard about this Eagles Cowboys game, which is also gonna add to Brandon and Scoop's frustration.
I'm prepping it
Re-
right now.
No,
yeah.
it might actually make me feel better because at least I know somebody intelligent's going to have some better insight than whatever we saw today.
Well,
It's
okay.
31. It's 31-7 Rams Bucks really quick. I don't have much on this game. The Rams are just dominating in all facets. Shane, do you have anything on this game? I know you said you wanted to talk about it for a couple seconds. I got nothing here.
I do have something. Um, as of right now, the Rams are, in my opinion, the best team in the National Football League.
Yes, I
Um,
would agree.
I,
I,
I would agree with that.
I
and
think
that's
so.
it.
Yeah,
That's
I
all
think
I
Yeah,
have to
so.
say.
that's literally all I have about this as well. I mean, it's very clear. 31-7. What else can you do? If this gets good at any point, we will update you. We obviously have the game on. I have the game on, so we'll keep you updated. But I swear this is not an Eagles podcast, but this might take like an hour. Just
I mean,
Brandon and Scoop losing
it
their mind.
has to be tonight, given what the
Yeah.
hell that was.
So we have a few other games to get to, but and we will get to them. But give our two Eagles fans some space here because this is I mean, as I've heard it described by a lot of Eagles fans, including the two here, the worst loss in franchise history, probably the worst loss in your guys' lives in a very long time. Brandon, you can go
If
first.
if it's not, I can't think of a worse one right now.
Yeah. Brandon, you go first since you have the more vulgar mentality at the moment. So please go ahead.
I will try to suppress the rage inside me, the fire that's burning inside me.
I don't make the same promise, by the way.
I never said I promise. I said I'll try. but but I mean, look, where do you start? I mean, at 21-0, I play calling was fine. That wasn't the issue. Really, the first half, it was fine. Everything was fine. I'm not quite understanding why. Like the first thing that went sour tonight before the game even did was I said on Twitter, uh, right after we got up 21-0,
Yay, Twitter.
I said
Yay.
on Twitter, I said defense was getting burnt on this drive because usually when the Eagles do go up by 3 scores, this is exactly what Vic Fangio does. They play back, they play soft, etc. So, which I don't blame him for because the game should be over at that point technically. But I also I said on Twitter, I said defense is getting burnt on this drive. Vic better wake up now. The end of
And
that drive,
that was right towards the end of the first half, right?
that was the Reed Blankenship interception in the end zone. That's when that happened. I was like, okay, they woke up, defense woke up, we're okay. Offense 3 and out. I was like, okay, here we go, 3 and out, but not every drive can be a score. I understand that. Then Dallas gets that touchdown before the end of the half. That right there is when I started getting worried. I'm like, that is going to spell disaster. The fact that you let them score that late into this, I mean, a field goal is one thing, but a touchdown's another. I mean, really, you should have shut them out the entire second quarter, which I know is hard to do, but at the same time, you were doing it up until that point, and then all of a sudden, I was like, okay, well, maybe the defense starting to get gassed because those two or three drives back to back defensively did not look good. And I was like, okay, well, that's the product of the offense going 3 and out every 30 seconds. So you get to the second half, and I don't understand. I say it every week. I don't understand Kevin Patullo. I don't get it. Why are you changing anything you did offensively at all in that second half? You went from calling a great first half game plan to calling probably the worst second half in terms of plays I've ever seen. You literally insist on every. Since when is third and short ever a passing play? When is it ever a passing
Why is
play?
it ever a go route?
Yeah. And that's the worst part of it. Why is the only plays that we have as a passing play? Because there's passing plays you can run on 3rd and 2 that get you first downs. They're called 3-yard slant, 3-yard out, 5-yard in,
A drag?
a drag, anything would have worked there. Why are all the receivers still running their routes on 3rd and 2, 10 yards down the field? Why? Like, why does no one understand how stupid that is? Like, and the thing is, too, and you know it's going to be a pass because you know who they brought into the game on that 3rd and 2 on that pretty much what should have been a game-winning drive for Philly, because if you get that first down, Dallas has to call that timeout. So they have 2 timeouts left on the wrong side of the 2-minute warning, and you have the ball pretty much at midfield. You would basically go down. You could basically just run a bunch of quick plays, make Dallas use the timeout, 1 first down, you're kicking a field goal, you're going home as a winner. That's exactly what would have happened had you just picked up that damn first down. All you needed was 2 yards. So you make it so obvious that it's going to be a pass because you bring in your RB3, not even your 2, your RB3 in Will Shipley. So you know you're not handing the ball off to Will Shipley on 3rd and 2. So you already tipped your hand about you throwing the goddamn football. So you already screwed up there. So because honestly, on 3rd and 2, you know who should be out there if it's going to be a pass play? Saquon Barkley, because you would just send him out to the flat on a Texas route, or you run the damn football and pick it up. So literally, you could have ran anything else there. So that play call is one of the worst in NFL history. Because
Wait, what play was this?
The 3rd and 2, right around the 2-minute warning. That probably should have ended up getting us a first down, making Dallas use their timeouts and us
In the
winning
second half?
Yep.
Yeah, it was like in the fourth quarter.
In the
Okay,
fourth quarter.
I'm going to look at this.
I'm looking at it, and that's just one play. But there was other ones where I'm watching them, like, right as you're lining up, I'm like, why are we, once again, the only time a run play for this offense has worked all year is when you run outside the tackles, outside the numbers. Why the hell are you insisting on pounding Saquon Barkley inside the numbers, or inside the tackles, I should say, so inside the offensive line and the interior offensive line? Why are you insisting on basically running inside zone every other play and hoping that it works when your offensive line has A, not been healthy all year, and B, has been bottom 5 in the NFL this season? Why do you keep doing it? Why do you not change anything? Like, I don't care, because some people are still. I mean, it's not many, but I have seen it. I saw as recently as a week or two ago, people giving Kevin Patullo a pass because he's a first-year OC. He's been in the Eagles organization since 2021. He came over with Nick Sirianni. He's been part of this passing game, in terms of being a passing game coordinator, a passing game coach, whatever you want to call it, for the last 3 years before he got his shot, 4 years even, before he got his shot to call plays this year. He is not inexperienced. He is not, I don't care. You can't call a game the way he calls games. It's not acceptable, and Shane, you've said this, it's not acceptable for any offense at any level. Any level, it's not acceptable. So what I don't understand is, you've got people, still playing the Jalen Hurts card, saying that he can't win games. He had over 300 yards of total offense and scored all 3 touchdowns himself. I would shut up if I were you.
Honestly, yes.
So I don't want to hear that bullshit either. This is a game where he did everything he could to win. Saquon had a bad game. Saquon, for the first time this year, looked like physically a step slower. Everything was just too slow for him. Everything. There was even one play I was pissed off late in the game with. You had a 1st and 10. You just got a big gain. I believe it was the pass to Devontae Smith. Actually, I believe it was that same drive with the 3rd and 2. You had a 1st and 10. So no one's open. Okay, Jalen checks it down to Saquon on the left sideline. Instead of Saquon just turning around and trying to plow through a defender like he's done clearly last year and the early part of this season so far, instead of him catching the ball and just either plowing through that one defender, no, he catches it, tries to do like a step back spin move, and it was the slowest thing I've ever seen in my life, and he gets dropped for a no gain. You should have at least had 2 or 3 yards on that play. If you just catch
I don't know
it
why he was trying to spin in that moment at all.
I don't even know why you're trying to catch and spin move near the sideline to begin with. So, like, it looked like Saquon just couldn't process the game today. The offensive line was terrible again. This is the worst. Actually, this is the worst game the offensive line has played all year, because even though they only sacked, I think, Jalen twice in this game, they got so much pressure in his face, especially in that second half. Every play, Jalen was under pressure and the pocket collapsed. It was a miracle he was even completing passes at all at that point. So, like, A.J. Brown actually had a good game for once. A.J. Brown actually looked like the old A.J. Brown for once this season. Devontae Smith actually played well, had a huge catch that led to a touchdown drive. Like, the guys played. Dallas Goedert had a good game. Grant Calcaterra actually didn't have that bad of a game today for once this season.
Can I pause you for a second? I just saw a really disgusting stat. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys are going to be really pissed off. The Eagles have played 3 scoreless halves this season. Can you guess who's had more?
What do you mean? Who's had more?
Giants.
Oh, who's gotten shut out more? Who's gotten shut out
Who's
more?
gotten shut off in
Us?
halves more this season? It's 1 more than the
Cleveland?
Eagles, so it's 4.
No, I was
Cleveland?
gonna say like, no, I was gonna say something like Tennessee.
Not the Giants.
Raiders.
That is correct. It's the
Okay,
Tennessee Titans with 4. That's disgusting. That's
Yeah.
despicable.
It can't.
The only other team that I would have guessed would have been the Jets.
It can't. See, that stuff just can't happen. And the thing is, you can see. I don't know what it is. I expect the other team to make adjustments because every team should, unless you're Kyle Shanahan. I expect every team to make adjustments in games. No matter what, even if you're winning a game, there's still things you could do differently to ensure that you're going to win. Things you can change in the second half, things you can tweak a little more, whatever it is. They got into the second half. Everything changed. I don't understand when you see those play calls in the first half and you're up 21-0 early in this game. Why would you change anything? Why would you change it? How, as a professional coach, how does that go through your mind to do
That's a bit
everything?
generous to call him.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't let him coach a Pop Warner team. Honestly, if he was coaching a Pop Warner team and I was a father, he would get literally a stiff right and a left right to the jaw. I'm so angry watching him blow games because he cannot just do the most simple things that you ask an NFL coach to do. Like we've talked about before, right? About Kyle Shanahan not adjusting, and it's cost him games. But at least he knows how to still call plays. Even Mike McDaniel, as bad as he's been, can still call plays when needed. Any of these coaches that we consider bad at this point or losing their luster or whatever it is, they can still do the most basic things to win games. I've never in my life said, listen, we sat through Brian Johnson in 2023, but Brian Johnson's offense was never this bad. And I don't understand.
And he didn't get to inherit the skeleton of a team that just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you are literally getting the exact same offense that has been together for the last, minus Saquon, for the last 3 years. You get Saquon last year. They win it all. Great offense, especially second half of the season. Offense exploded. They took off. But on both sides, passing and rushing. Then you get to the Super Bowl. You get to the playoffs. They beat everybody. It didn't look great, but they won the games they had to win. The offense did enough, both passing and rushing. They beat them both ways. This year, with the Eagles, it's like I watch the same 3 play, especially when they go stale, because that first half was fine, but You cannot, like, I'm looking at this game, and not just this game, but other games this year. You can't tell me that Kevin Patullo is the same person calling these plays from one half to another, because it's a completely different offense. So who's calling these plays? And why is he being allowed to? If it's that stark of a difference, why is he being allowed to call a second half or for whatever it is? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If Dan Campbell can take the play sheet from his OC, and listen, they don't look good right now, Detroit, but if he can take his play sheet from the OC and not be afraid to call his own players and to give his own players knows what his offense needs to do to win games. If he can do that, at this point, listen, I don't like Nick Sirianni either because it's going to be the same offense. But at this point, I would rather I'd rather my dead dog from 10 years ago call plays for this offense than that moron out there in Philadelphia. Because I've never seen somebody with such incompetence on a football field, player or coaching-wise, in my entire life. I've been watching football for 20 years. I've never in my life seen such incompetence. And that's saying a lot. When we've seen Matt Canada, we've seen Kyle Shanahan not adjust, like I said before. We've seen
Brandon Staley.
Yeah, we've seen him in LA.
I like to take shots at that guy whenever possible.
We've seen Matt Eberflus. Like, we've seen nothing but garbage come through the NFL, especially in the last 5 years. And you know who the worst of them probably is? That man in Philadelphia. I hesitate to even call him a man, because honestly, what is he at this point? So I don't understand how you can be part of an offense that has these kinds of guys on it. These are all Super Bowl champions. These are all guys up till this year were considered, most of them were top 5 in their positions in football. You take it and you run it into the damn ground week after week after week, and we hear in the post game and the press conferences all the time, like, it becomes a broken record. Now, I understand that you can only say so much. Oh, we gotta fix it. But at some point, what the hell are you fixing where it doesn't change every week and it's the same regurgitated crap, both in the press conferences and on the field? At what point do things seriously, like for real, have to change? Because you can't keep saying the same thing every week and nothing changes. They said this in 21 before Steichen took over. The offense completely flipped. It actually became fantastic the rest of that season. 22, fantastic. 23, not great. We didn't like Brian Johnson, but holy hell, did I ever think it could be worse than him? And this isn't even worse. It's not even worse by this much. It's about 10 to 100 times worse than that.
Wait, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah. I didn't want to interrupt him, but for about the last 90 seconds, I was like, is Rob trying to talk to us and muted?
Yeah, no. My mic bugged. I fixed it.
Okay, so
I wanted to pause you really quick, Brandon, because is the Kevin Patullo, is it called the Kevin Patullo list, or is the list abolished because Kevin Patullo has been the worst you've ever seen?
I mean, at this point, God, I really hope that
I'm gonna check the screen too really quick.
Whoever hires him next season, either as an OC,
you think he's gonna get hired?
I mean, if he's being,
I'll say this. People forget this.
Maybe not as a coordinator, but
Matt LaFleur was hired as a head coach after having a really badly ranked year as the offensive coordinator for Tennessee. Just because you're low ranked or your offense is low ranked as a coordinator doesn't rule you out automatically for head coaching jobs sometimes.
And there are very stupid teams in the NFL that are desperate for help.
We're good.
So you know what? Like, you know what I want at some point for both Jalen Hurts' sake and this offense's sake? I just want a coordinator that's going to stay. And I know that's hard to come by. But
that's really hard, yeah.
But yeah, when you're a Super Bowl contender, yeah, it's hard to come by. But there's teams out there who've had the same coordinator for 3, 4, 5 years. Why can't we have that? Why can't we get somebody that wants to stay? Because it would help so much if we had somebody that wants to stay. I'm tired of every year having a different OC.
Scoop, 14 penalties for 96 yards. for your
Yes,
Philadelphia
I
Eagles.
watched every single one of them.
I didn't even get into that. I can't. We can't get into it all because this game was so bad. Like, oh my god, man.
Scoop, you can go from there if you'd like.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, 14 penalties, and I just and there were a couple of them. Like for example, we've seen it happen time and time again. There's just a sign of undisciplined play when you're getting penalized too much. I've seen the Eagles do. Well, we all have multiple times this season. 14 against your biggest rival is so far beyond unacceptable. There is not a word in the Merriam-Webster dictionary that describes it. The fact that and then you add on to that because some of it's happening in the trenches, and obviously some of it isn't, obviously. But it shows just at each level, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, whatever. It just shows a level of undisciplined. And again, I've been a defender of Coach Sirianni where others haven't. But at the end of the day, that in particular, like details and discipline and whatever, that does fall at least partially on the head coach. So that does at least fall partially on Coach Sirianni. And the fact that it was on, this game in particular, it was on it's been a trend. It's not like this just happened out of nowhere and they were one of the 5 least penalized teams in football coming into tonight. No, this has just been a trend that just happened to bubble over today in the worst possible way at the worst possible time. And then you compound that with more injuries. We saw Makuba go down. We already lost future Hall of Fame tackle Lane Johnson a week or two ago to go along with the other 60% of our O-line that has gotten beaten up. We've got guys like Steen playing out of position. He himself is not helping with the penalty situation at all. And it's just, excuse me, and we'll go back. We'll come back to this part where this was probably the worst game I've seen Saquon Barkley play as an Eagle.
Yeah.
That being said, some of that stuff, some of what happened today, I 100% blame him for. The stuff that I don't blame him for is these stupid ass inside zone calls, running him right up the chute behind two guards and a center who are not starting centers and guard in the NFL. They are not. For any team that's remotely fully healthy or remotely knows how to develop in the trenches, those guys are not playing in those positions by any stretch of the imagination, unless you're trying to tank. Which last time I checked, a team that was 8-2 or whatever the hell our record is wasn't trying to tank. Okay, but the protection I saw up there, I don't think protection has failed that badly since the Patullo marriage back in the 1970s.
You haven't watched the Raiders enough.
But
that is the worst O-line I've seen in years.
I can't think of any more damaging failure of protection for the Eagles than that when Patullo was born. But I don't think. But just looking at everything from the top down while we were watching today, and then like Brandon was talking about the play calling, but here's the problem: the play calling's been that, and what was even more cruel is that we got teased in the beginning of the game with we were basically like this team basically blue balled us in the fact that we had actually been exposed in the beginning to actually more promising and more dynamic play calling. Brandon, I know, was a little bit peeved in the beginning that it was so pass heavy, but eventually, like some of what we started to see how it was going to build on one another. And again, that's how you build a 21-0 lead. How the hell? I understand you let it. Not that I understand letting a team back in, but I understand that a team more or less is going to chip into a 21-point lead when they have over 30 minutes of regulation left. I understand that. But this was one of the worst defenses in the NFL this season. And you couldn't score a lick off of them in over a half hour. Not one point.
It was almost 2.5 quarters. It wasn't even 2. It was 2.5.
Right. So you couldn't score a single point against that team. Against Eberflus, that people have been joking about as the defensive coordinator, and a defense that people have been joking about for weeks. You couldn't score 1 point off of them. And I don't know what the hell went into the decision to just decide not to try and go for the 3 points and just decide to, just okay, we don't need to try and score there, because that loomed large at the end of the game. But excuse me, sorry. But at the same time, looking at the amount of opportunities they had to try but again, complementary football, right? So when you have that many failed opportunities and that much BS going on offense, to the point where I even saw multiple people this week. I saw on the herd he had Howard Cosell on there. Howard Cosell talked about it. I saw former players talking about it. This is a known fact now, how rudimentary, elementary, basic, and just absolutely just dull-minded this offense is for Philadelphia. And as other teams, as teams are becoming more dynamic, more unpredictable, and more creative, Philly is becoming more blockheaded. And I'm not understanding
blockheaded. What a word!
Word! I'm just not understanding how they expect. Yeah, it's like, and I beg. All I want for Christmas this year is to play one damn football game for 4 quarters.
How about Black Friday? If you don't do it, I'm going to be real honest. Hang on. I'm just going to say this, and I want you guys to roundtable me here.
What?
If the Bears win on Friday, are we all completely out on the Eagles?
Oh yeah,
I was almost out like on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm out. If we lose,
I'm feeling out. I'm feeling out right now.
It's going to depend on how we would lose. Like I can see scenarios in which we lose that I'm still not 100% out, because of how we got here. But again, like you guys just mentioned about the Rams looking like the best team in the NFC. We played the Rams.
100%.
We played the Rams. The only reason we beat the Rams is because of a once in a million special teams thing at the very end of that. We damn near almost lost that game.
Yeah. Well, and that was also 2 months ago. Like,
things have changed.
Teams changed in that time.
Guys, we are what? How many days to Thanksgiving? 4 days. 4 days. This is the time where things matter, guys. And if you don't have an offense that can do much, have fun. Baker Mayfield doubtful with a shoulder, by the way, the rest of the way.
I'm grateful it's a shoulder, because at one point they were concerned about a concussion. So I'm grateful.
I'm really grateful it's a shoulder. Yeah.
What did I say last week about Philly's offense? It's not a Super Bowl winner, and it's not even close.
No.
The fact that you need your defense to make stop after stop after like one stop is fine, or a stop here or there is fine. When you need your defense to make every stop in a game, once you get any kind of lead, and you need them to make every single stop,
I'm gonna add this. They look tired.
They've got to be. Brandon, I think I made this comp a few weeks ago, and I'm going to bring it back. This reminds me somewhat of back the 2014 team, I think it was, when we were like one of the last teams in time of possession, and we had the 32 ranked defense because of it. The only difference is we had one of the best offenses in the league that year. That ain't the case now.
Yeah, when you look at where this offense sits, you look at the bottom 5 line. Even when they're healthy, they're bottom 5, which is something I never thought I'd say about the Eagles offensive line, but statistically they are this season. They're bottom 5. When you look at, Saquon, for some reason, all of a sudden has looked like he's lost a step. I don't know where the hell that came from, but today really showed it. I was like, wow, he does not look
they're also not cutting him to the outside nearly enough. So he's taken a freaking bruising behind those 3, interior offensive, linemen in name only. So we've got he's dealing with that, perpetual abuse. So all of that, I'm sure that's not helping the situation. The fact that he's taking a physical brutalizing, and at the same time, he's not being utilized in his most effective way, based on the fact that the guys in front of him who are supposed to be, helping, create the lanes and whatever are more just creating 5 o'clock traffic.
And I just don't understand when I like, this is a line where, I mean, they haven't been healthy all year. This is like the third game. I think they've been even 90% healthy. But even so, our backups can be starters on other teams. That's how good our backups usually are. But here's the problem too. I don't think, and I'm not going to use this as much of an excuse because even 50% of them is still better than 90% of the NFL's offensive linemen. But, and they have been injured, but Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens have been severely disappointing this year. They've been terrible all season long. Landon Dickerson's been, listen, hurt, yes, but even so, you're supposed to be one of the top guards in the game, if not the top guard in the NFL. And you're playing like this. You're getting beat off of the ball almost every play. Cam Jurgens, all of a sudden, for some reason, this guy was great last year, was phenomenal last year. I figured coming into this year, it'd be more of the same. I figured that's our Jason Kelce at this point. He's really good. This year, for some reason, Cam Jurgens is slow off the snap, gets beat by every defensive tackle, doesn't pick up blocks, and then it even goes as far down as and after that, especially on a pass play, when even Saquon, who is a good pass protector usually as a running back, he's whiffing on a lot of blocks this year too. Nothing about it looks right. The play calling doesn't look right. The OC is a moron. The offensive line is hurt and not playing well at all. You got AJ Brown's whole, give me the ball crap. You've got, Devontae Smith kind of just being there, for lack of a better word. You've got Dallas Goedert, who seems like he's never healthy. Even when he is, it's like, okay, but are you healthy for one game, then you're back out again. Grant Calcaterra can't block. I don't understand how an offense can go from even with the horrendous war crime play calling that we have for our offense.
War crime, Jesus.
I don't understand why still, even with that our talent has been so bad. Because even the play calling does matter, but it doesn't change how Landon Dickerson or Cam Jurgens do their jobs. It doesn't change how Mailata does his jobs that much. And they've all been pretty bad this year. Lane Johnson's been the only good one, but guess what? Lane Johnson's old. Honestly, if they lose on Friday against the Bears, I'm looking at the draft. I don't care. I'm looking at the draft. Draft replacement immediately for Lane Johnson because he's no longer healthy. Draft, nothing but secondary because, God, we cannot have another season where there's no CB2 out there because Coop can't be a CB2. Coop has played at the CB2 spot pretty much the last 2 games and gotten fried. Absolutely fried at CB2. So he's a slot and that's it. So honestly,
Shane's right. He's not quick enough. That's exactly right. Yeah,
he's not.
Especially because CB2s usually cover the Z receiver, and the Z is usually the faster of the 2 receivers. Usually, not always, but. Anyways,
all right, Shane. Let's sadly make the pain worse for these guys. What do you have for us in the whiteboard segment?
Give us that part of it. I want to know.
So,
my apologies for the earlier technical difficulties. My mic literally jocked out of my computer. I don't know what the hell happened.
Back up. Your mic what now?
It jocked out. It pulled out. It just went poof. I have no clue what the hell happened. All right, Shane, go ahead.
Your mic is more athletic than half of our offensive line.
All right, Shane, go ahead.
So, this is Philly's 3rd and 2 play. Okay.
Oh, yay. Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Now,
although I will say that it is an improvement. We're actually seeing a line go over the middle of the field for once.
Here's the problem, though. 3rd and 2. How many of these are routes that you would throw to, on a quick pass when you just need to get 2 yards?
Exactly.
Like 2 of them, maybe? Maybe 2 of them?
The H and the Y.
Yeah.
That's it. Everyone's
Why?
going deep.
Why do you have the Z and the F running goes on 3rd and 2?
And then you have the X running. What would that be? Would that be a corner considered?
Corner. Yeah.
Corner post.
AJ Brown. Here's the thing, though. AJ Brown, who's, what is he, 6'3", 220, big, strong guy. He got
Something like that.
jammed.
And Pringles, what the?
He got jammed by the field side corner. He only made it to about here. And then he basically threw him off his path, and he was out. How he let that happen is beyond me.
Oh, Jesus.
So, here's why nobody was open on this play. A.J. Brown gets jammed there. Jalen Hurts was looking his way. I think he was the primary target, which makes sense because, I mean, as far as I can tell, based off this defense, he would theoretically be the only one open.
Yeah.
Which, again, why you're throwing a 15-yard corner on 3rd and 2, I don't know, but here we are. So, F, they have F running. So he's out. He gets jammed somehow.
Somehow. We don't even
Somehow.
know.
I don't know. Okay, what about F? Well, he's running a go into the free safety who is 8 yards deep and already has a running start on him. That's out. That's out. That's not going to work. You run a go on somebody who's pressed on you and you release outside of them. Okay, so that's done. Y has the nickel playing on him in man, and the Warrior is sitting right here in the middle. He's out. Z, Devontae Smith, he does get some leverage past him, but then Rover safety is playing this deep third because that's the only person he has to play the deep third because no one else is deep because they messed up. And then H has nowhere to go because Tiger comes down and covers him. So you tell me how this makes any sense. I'll give you a hint. It does not.
It does not. Jinx.
And this is the thing that's really depressing. Okay.
Depressing.
You're holding it.
It gets it gets worse, guys. It gets worse.
How?
Explain. How?
Jalen Hurts was pressured almost immediately.
Yep. Yeah. I know.
You know what the front four was doing? You'd think, okay, if they got pressure that quick, surely there was a switch or someone got good inside leverage or they shot gaps. Nope. The end went straight ahead, tackle, went straight ahead, nose, straight ahead, end. Everyone
went straight.
Yeah. And their 4 dudes beat the Eagles' 5 linemen. Just going straight ahead. No one shot a gap.
That's depressing.
No one switched. Nothing. So, yeah. This is why Kevin Patullo sucks. In this case, I think if I were to do it differently, I would have. Well, first of all, I would have ran the ball.
Thank you.
But if you're gonna pass, and
If you
let's
must. Yeah.
yeah, and and just for the sake of it, okay, let's keep them in tray left tray left open because that's what they're in right here. Okay, tray left because you have 3 receivers on this side. Tight end is detached from the offensive line. So that means it's tray as opposed to trio. If it was trio, the tight end would be attached. So, let's see. Let me just erase this.
We're erasing the whole play.
No, I'm just erasing 2 routes.
Can I erase the last 5 hours from my memory?
I would absolutely erase the whole play. And actually, I would erase every play in the second half and start over.
This is a really simple fix.
It usually is, and Kevin Patel can't figure it out.
Oh, I can't wait to see this.
This is going to be fantastic. Look how quick this was.
You're on a smash concept, okay?
Oh, yeah.
X, AJ Brown does a hitch. F runs a corner. What happens here is the free safety is likely going to follow him. And when he makes this turn here, the field side corner, there will probably, not guaranteed, but there will probably be a miscommunication of some sort where field side corner will either not catch up to Brown on the hitch, or he will also drift back because he sees this guy going deep. So AJ Brown, in theory, would be open there. But let's say that doesn't work. Let's take it a step further, shall we?
This is getting more ugly by the minute. Oh, no.
Oops.
I don't know whether to laugh, be mad, or cry.
All of
Yes.
it.
Yes. So,
Every single one.
wait, I don't want blue. You guys can keep talking if you want while I draw this up.
Let's talk about more bad play calling. The Lions don't know what they're doing with Dan Campbell.
Because Dan Campbell doesn't know what he's doing. That's
What aggressive to a fault on everything. It's the Giants. You let Jameis Winston throw all over you because all these defenses suck in the league. I mean, hell, Tampa's giving up 450 yards or however many yards they're giving up right now in the third quarter.
It's like shit.
What are you drinking?
The corpse of a macchiato.
Yikes. But it's ugly. Scoop, I don't think this can survive for the Lions with your head coach calling plays. I just don't think it can survive.
I don't think that him calling plays was intended to be a long-term thing. I think he's just doing it for now until he can find somebody he trusts more.
Trust your offensive coordinator actually knew how to call plays the first half of the season.
I genuinely couldn't hear you. Say that again.
No, I was saying, how about you trust your offensive coordinator who was actually okay calling plays the first half of the year?
Well, clearly he didn't agree with Clearly he thought that somebody could do. But my point being is, I don't think that him doing it was expected to be permanent. I don't know. It may last the rest of the season, but I'm willing to bet that going into next year, I'm willing to bet there will be a new play caller.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Brandon, what are you seeing for? Actually, go ahead, Shane. There you go.
Here's another look you could do. It's okay. If you're insistent on doing 2 goes, here's how you do that. Kevin Steele.
Insistent on doing it.
If you're
Yay.
insistent on having 2 goes, you don't
Which they
have the
usually are.
F. Yeah, you don't have the F run it on the free safety who's 8 yards back. You do it on the X, AJ Brown, have him go up, and then when they are going, right, you have F run a quick out, speed out right here.
Easy catch. Easy catch.
Easy catch and first down. Because you think free safety is going to make it from 8 yards deep all the way down here that quickly while these guys are in front of him doing their thing? No. Um, so, you know, I mean, hell, I just showed you guys two different examples that I came up with in 5 seconds. That, that would work better. And that's just in Trey left open. Okay. There are plenty other different formations I could have chose from, and plenty of run plays I could have chosen from. So,
Yeah,
Give me some benefit.
When you call the worst play call of all time on 3rd and 2, that's about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been this much debate about running versus passing on a specific play since Marshawn in the backfield.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I don't care. I don't care about if it's run or pass. I just care about what the play call was. It was terrible.
But
Fair enough.
The second I saw that replay, and I believe it was like Devontae Smith running the go route, I saw when I saw what Jalen was looking at, I was like, oh brother, I was like, you like this is not real life. Like Kevin Patullo's point shaving, or he's betting, or something, because there's no way you call this there. There's no way. Like
I saw a conspiracy theory involving Patullo either yesterday or today. I can't remember.
I hope it gets confirmed. Whatever it is, I hope it gets confirmed.
I can't remember I can't even remember what it was. I got to go back and dig up the records. But
whatever it is, I hope it's confirmed.
But it's just it's hard to process that these decisions are being made by somebody who has a vested interest in seeing a repeat in Philadelphia, because it feels like you could bring down the people from the New York Jets who are using Madden ratings to make decisions, and I feel like they would actually do a better job at this point.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the Lions. Brandon, what did you see in terms of play calling on offense for them today?
I mean, it's just, listen, their best strength right now is oddly enough, it's not ours, but their best strength is running the ball up the middle. Like for some reason with Montgomery and with Jahmyr Gibbs, every time they run that ball up the middle, it opens up so much for that offense. Now listen, it's not great when you have Dan Campbell going for it on every 4th down, and so that's ultimately why you're losing games, because your head coach is an idiot, just like our head coach is. But at the same time, I look at how they're kind of, I guess, it looks just disjointed. It looks more disjointed. It doesn't, like, the plays don't look that different to me compared to when Ben Johnson was there and whatnot in the last 2 years. But I look at them and I'm like, it feels like it's off. It feels like it's just slightly off, either in timing or in, I mean, Laporte is going to be done, pretty much is done for the year. That impacts the offense.
He is. He's actually out for the year. Yeah.
So that impacts the offense. But like, I don't think they're using Amon-Ra as anything other than. I mean, he's their primary receiver. I get that, but
he feels more like a decoy. It's really weird.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're using him like they did in the past year or two. It just feels like he's more so. Yeah, either a decoy or they're just giving him almost like it's almost a Kevin Patullo thing where they're giving him bland routes to run, where it's like he's not running anything that's going to fool a defense. Like there's no, at least from what I see, I believe from what I've seen, I don't know if it's true. Maybe then I've got to find numbers on it, but I don't think they've used. You know how it seems like every other play in the last 2 years with Detroit was always like, oh yeah, they used like a lot of motion and it was effective. It feels like we're not seeing that this year either, where they're just kind of lining up. They might have kind of like a motion in, then motion the receiver back out, and then that's the motion of the play, and then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, they have enough talent and speed that where they like. The only thing, to me, the only difference really between Detroit and Philly offensively is that Detroit just has really a bigger bag of plays to pull from, so they can keep a defense guessing at least enough, and then they have, of course, two running backs, two-headed monster there that make things work. But other than that, it's the same kind of it's the same thing with the two teams really, where there's not a lot of effective motion, at least this year. There's not a lot of effective motion, if any at all. They're using their number one receivers mostly as decoys, and then when they do get the ball, it's kind of like these contested, weird plays that I feel like they're broken half the time. Or it's just, the one thing at least Detroit still kind of does is they still kind of find ways to push the ball into the middle of the field. But even so, there's a lot of plays where I'm watching Detroit where they used to use the middle of the field a lot. Use JMO on an underneath route, use them on a crossing route, which they still do, but even last week against us, they still used a lot of those crossing routes. One deep shot or a couple of deep shots to JMO and one to Amon-Ra were on crossing routes. But it feels like for every crossing route, it just feels like they're running a lot of plays, kind of just like the rest of the NFL this year that we said, every week about these offenses as a whole in this league. So many of these plays are going to the sideline outside the numbers. Why? The middle of the field is usually wide open. It's the largest part of the field. Why would you cut off a third of the field to run these plays pretty much by the numbers or to the sideline? It doesn't make any. It's not a high percentage play. It's not high percentage, and it's not what your team was good at previously. So why would you get away from something that has worked so well for you over the years? It kind of doesn't make sense. It's it's just, for lack of a better term, it's ass backwards. I watch. JMO still has the speed to get open. Yeah, Amon-Ra can still get open. He's still fast. He's still a good route runner, all these different things. But that's only so good until you can't vary it, can't stagger these kind of their skill sets and kind of stagger these plays enough to where you're keeping defense. Every the last 2 years, it was always, the Lions can score 40, 50, whatever, and they can run plays out of almost any formation. And the thing is, I don't remember ever in the last 2 years seeing from one game to the next where Detroit didn't kind of change up their formation. Feels like every other drive. One drive would be in one formation, next drive would be in another, next drive would be in another. They would end up, trick plays, scoring touchdowns, all these different things. I don't see any of that this year. The trick plays, I think, have gone down, which you shouldn't have a lot of them anyway, but for them, it worked. Trick plays have gone down. The offense feels like it really got kind of dialed back, where it just feels like that now it's become a little bit too simplified for Detroit, and they're getting in trouble now because teams are kind of figuring them out. There's no reason today why you should have struggled against the Giants for that long. There's no reason. This is an offense that has two really good wide receivers, two really damn good running backs, which honestly, the biggest difference in the game was Jahmyr Gibbs going off pretty much in the second half. That was your difference in this game. And of course, the 69-yard rushing touchdown at the start of the half, where he had the biggest hole imaginable and ran straight through it. I don't know really what it is about Detroit, but every time it feels like they put one or two successful plays together, it feels like once they get maybe one first down, two first downs, the drive just stalls. And I'm like, and if it just the kind of the tone of the drive kind of gets shut down, stopped, just because it feels like the play calling kind of shifts a little bit. I'm like, well, you can't have the same play calling all the way down the field. The defense is going to adjust. Once you get into the red zone, obviously the field shortens, so you got to call different plays. But I don't get with Detroit where it feels like just every time they get a little bit of momentum, it kind of gets another year they got a little bit of momentum and that was game over. Now they get a little bit of momentum, and they all of a sudden they shut it down just as fast too. So it's like you struggled against Philly outdoors in Philly. I expect that though, but still you struggle against Philly. Okay, you get held to 9 points. Awful game for everybody offensively, completely awful. But today, you won the game against the Giants, but you really shouldn't have. The Giants more so lost that game than Detroit won it, and Detroit just won it just pretty much off the back of Jahmyr Gibbs. He was the only guy that actually played well today. So it's weird. It just feels like that they don't feel like anybody can get the ball in this offense and make a difference. It feels like if it's not Jahmyr Gibbs this year, it feels like it's nobody. Yeah. And that's not good.
Yeah, Shane, are you noticing similar things?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think it's a situation of just play calling that is not clever, and instead relying on the pure speed and strength and just talent of your guys. Because that's very much Dan Campbell's thing. He's not a schemer and a whiteboard magician, I don't think. I mean, I certainly don't get that vibe from him. And so, yeah, I think this should not be a permanent thing for sure. Him calling plays. I didn't think his last, who the guy who was, I keep forgetting his name, who was doing it at the beginning of the season.
John Moreland, the OC.
John Moreland.
Yeah. I didn't think he was that bad. I mean, he's not Ben Johnson, but
Nobody was going
fine.
to be.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. But I thought he was fine, so I just think the whole thing is kind of weird. but luckily, they have a lot of variety with their offensive talent. You got a great, very tactical route runner with Amon-Ra. You got the speedster with Jamison Williams, and then in the backfield, I mean, Gibbs is very kind of finesse, very quick, very slippery, and Montgomery, he's a workhorse back there. So you have a lot of options, I would say, but it doesn't. That alone will not win you games. I mean, look at today. The fact that against the Giants, like, yikes. So, yeah. But anyways,
All right. I'm going to roundtable this one as well. Is anyone out on the Indianapolis Colts?
no.
I'm starting to get there.
I'm starting to get there as well. Shane, why are you at a no?
Because okay. I was never super high on them to begin with. Even though they had the best record, I was like, yeah, but they seem like they can't, or I shouldn't say can't. They seem like they have trouble closing it out in big games. All right, this is something that we've kind of noticed from the beginning, and I think that's still true. So we saw that today, and it's Kansas City is having a bit of a down year, but they're still competitive, and it was in Arrowhead, so it's. I'm not going to look at one game and be like, oh, nope, they're done. It's like, no, I mean, this is still kind of what I thought they were. But, and what I thought they were is like they would win the division and maybe win a wild card, but probably not make it past the divisional round. And that was it. And that's still how I feel about them. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Scoop. What say you on Indianapolis?
First off, the question. I mean, you asked the question, why are you not out on the Indianapolis Colts? I mean, quite frankly, I think that I would need more of a reason to be out than I need one not to be. I mean, that kind of is already. I have that kind of just doesn't jive with my mentality. Like if I'm already in on somebody, I need more of a reason to shift to out than I do to stay in on them. But
Can I give you two reasons?
two reasons? What?
Two reasons why I'm starting to feel out.
Yeah, of course.
Jonathan Taylor, if he can't get going, the team's not good. They're just not good.
Okay.
And then Sauce Gardner can't get out of his own way.
Okay, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. And in the early return, obviously Sauce Gardner looking like not a good trade for them with the Jets. It looks like a rare Jets heist potentially, which is
That's fun.
which typically that's how they happen. Typically they don't really make them skill wise. They typically just kind of fall ass backwards into them. It's like when the computer randomly offers you 2 first-round picks for that player that you were going to trade and you were going to be excited to just take a third rounder for.
Every NBA 2K game ever.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I was going for. But in any event, one of the reasons why I'm not out on them with the logic that you just gave me, one of the reasons why that doesn't take me out on them or even really move me that far out of them is because at worst, that just makes them not better than what they already were. And I already saw them as a top team in the AFC. So just because they didn't get that much better by making that trade, it doesn't mean they got worse. Yeah, I don't like they don't have those first round picks. Those first round picks don't make a difference in how well they do this year. Yeah, I mean, if you were asking me about how do I feel about them next season, yeah, of course, it makes a difference. But next season doesn't happen between now and February. So
and then what about Jonathan Taylor? I mean, there is worries there.
I'm getting to that. So with that, yes, there's been issues when he hasn't really gotten going. For how their offense is able to flow, or I don't know exactly
flow and function, kind of in a way, or like just kind of coast through a little bit. Yeah.
I'm trying in real time here. I'm trying to pull up something about Jonathan Taylor's production because I don't like speaking out of my tail hole here. I feel like if people want to see people do that on the media, they got enough people that they can watch tomorrow for that. But
that's fair. That's totally fair.
But here we are. Okay, Jonathan Taylor. So his average over the last 5 is 119 yards per game. And again, I know today was a bit of a clunker. But again, we're still looking at a guy who's top 3 in a lot of thing. He was second in runs of 10 yards or more, which are classified as quote explosive runs. He's top 10 in a lot of things in terms of being a receiving back as well. So he's not just making difference in the rushing game; he's making difference in the passing game. And again, a good amount of this comes back to O-line production as well. They've had one of the more reliable O-lines in the game as far as run blocking was concerned. So I don't have a ton that makes me really lack confidence in their ability to produce the way that they need to. Again, I know that we saw a clunky game today, but I mean, I have seen them play a couple games where their rushing game was not really firing on all cylinders, and they were still able to if you want to say make it work or whatever the case may be. Of course, exactly when I'm trying to pull up the information that I need, it's not showing up. So
you're okay. You're on the right track. You're fine.
Yeah. And again, I'm trying to pull up what I'm looking for here, and for some reason it's elusive. But what it comes down to is there was really before today there were really 2 games where the running game didn't really get going. It was a game against Raiders and the game against the Dolphins before before the wheels really started to fall off there. But almost every other team, when they played against the Broncos, when they played against the Steelers, I'm sorry, not the Steelers. Excuse me. The played against Los Angeles I think it was like 2 weeks after Denver. So they haven't played a ton of teams that they're going to really be seeing. And I know that was part of people's concern. But the teams that we have seen them play against that they could potentially face in an AFC run, they've played a couple of those teams and played them well on the ground. So the body of work from which we are drawing that they've actually put on the tape or put in the books or whatever, I don't know. I don't have that same level of concern with Jonathan Taylor not being able to make things happen. And really, I guess to go back to your overarching point, I guess I would say was, you talked about when he doesn't, can they still, get the job done? I'm trying to pull up their schedule here because I want to look at their week by week. If you want to go to anybody else and come back to me while I get this up.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon, you've kind of led this charge with your concern with Indy, so you can continue from there.
There it is.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Scoop. Before I go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying that I had found what I was looking for.
Do you want me to go game by game on their schedule?
Well, no. I found the schedule now.
All right, go.
So their lowest graded games in terms of their rushing game were against the Dolphins. Like I said, the Dolphins, the Raiders.
Oh my God! Breaking news!
What?
I'm sorry. Breaking news.
What?
Chip Kelly is out as the Raiders offensive coordinator. Per Adam
Why
Schefter.
can't Philly do it?
I love that. That's the reaction.
I thought you were fixing to have to end that with he's being promoted to head coach.
Nope, he is
Yeah.
out. There you go.
I
Per Adam
really,
Schefter.
I really, really wanted that news to be Kevin Patullo.
That's so weird because that contradicts what we had previously heard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which
So
leads me to
might-
believe that report was not true.
Well, clearly, or at
Well,
least
no
something
shit, yeah.
changed.
Who reported that? Who reported
Was
that?
it Diana
Was it
Rossini?
Diana Rossini? Jinx.
Um,
That's like our fourth jinx tonight. We're operating the same wavelength.
I don't think it. I mean, I know Rossini reported. I know it wasn't just Rossini though.
No.
So
But see,
so
the fact that she's anywhere near it shows how wrong it was.
so here's the thing, right? We did our whole spiel on Monday with the Raiders, and how bad it was. I'm gonna be real honest about what I'm seeing with the Raiders, other than the bad offensive line, other than Geno Smith not knowing what he's doing at almost any point, except maybe a couple minutes here and there. I have very closely looked at Pete Carroll on the sidelines. He doesn't care. He looks like he just doesn't care. Guys, I'm being serious. Like, I don't think he cares about this roster. I don't think he cares about this team because this is not his roster. It's just not. Like, this is a roster made up of players that cannot get you to the playoffs. It's just not. And so, and look, the Geno Smith thing, he's not even upset. I don't know. I personally believe from the body language and everything that I'm seeing, I think he believes that he just doesn't have the roster around Geno to make him successful offensively, and also defensively the team is a mess. I don't think the Raiders brass really care about this season. I don't think the coaching staff cares about this season. I think Chip Kelly getting fired says a lot because, as we talked about on Monday, the ideology was never there in the first place. So I don't get why he was hired. But there goes that. So I mean, by the way, I'm gonna be real here. This is gonna take 2 to 3 years for Pete Carroll to build. I just don't think he has enough time to do that. Shane, do you believe so?
Yeah, because I mean, you have to consider, like, when he was in Seattle. I mean, he had, at the time, one of the best owners.
Yeah, John Schneider.
Yeah, John Schneider, and they just, kind of well, they didn't happen to. They built that, the Super Bowl team, the Legion of Boom.
The Legion of Boom, yeah.
I mean, not on.
Anytime you develop a dynasty, there is some luck involved. I don't think it's disrespectful to say that.
Oh, especially when you get guys like diamonds in the rough, 5th, 6th round picks, undrafted guys.
Yeah.
Right.
So, look, I think having that kind of structure for him to walk into was very beneficial. Obviously.
Oh, of course.
Because that's like if you're if your dad gives you the keys to a self-driving Tesla and says, "Okay, don't crash it." It's like, all right, so. But now, this is. Oh, okay. This is a 1970s Chevy truck with no carburetor, and hasn't been started in 20 years, and you need to somehow get it to the hardware store.
I love our analogies on this show.
Yeah, no, for real.
It's good. Yeah,
it's a little bit different, because look, and that's the thing. In Seattle, yes, he and John Schneider got there the same year. It wasn't until year 3 when they started doing well.
Yeah.
His first 2 seasons there, they finished 7-9 and 7-9, which compared to this looks fantastic. but that roster still had, even in those first couple of years, they were still, they were getting Marshawn, and the offensive line was pretty good. They were getting, they had Cam Chancellor.
They were figuring out the quarterback position and what they were going to do long term.
Yeah, like they had some pieces, not all of them, but they had some, right? So, yeah, and that's the difference here. This is not a well-owned team. Mark Davis is not nearly the owner Paul Allen was, and
not by a long shot.
Right, and John Spytek. I mean, we'll see how he does. He's first year
I forgot
GM,
about
so,
him.
Yeah, he's a first year GM, so it's
and I can't judge him off one draft. Yeah,
no,
I can't remember. Did people like his draft this year or not? I'm still.
I didn't love it.
I mean, I
have to look at it again.
I hated the pick of Ashton Genty.
I mean, when you don't have an offensive line, I hear you.
I mean, this draft had Pete Carroll.
That's exactly why I hated it. That's exactly why I hated it.
Why do you say it had Pete Carroll written all over it, Shane?
Just because of the kind of guys they took. I mean, it was like total. When he was, there was. Let's see. There was a time for about 4 years in Seattle, like 2018, 19, 20, and 21, where Pete had the final say in terms of drafting and like personnel decisions. It was right after Paul Allen passed away. And the drafts that year, or those 4 years, were pretty bad. I mean, they just were. And that's why the team kind of, had a little bit of a dip there. It was full of picks like Rashad Penny in the first round.
Or Jesus, yeah. Oh.
Or who else did they get in the first round? LJ Collier, I think.
Yeah, LJ Collier. Oh my God.
So, that totally, I would not be surprised at all if Pete, because he likes his big, powerful running backs, if he saw this and, he's like, oh, Genji's available. Yeah, he's great. Let's get him. Yeah, he's going to be awesome. And Spytek.
But after so much experience, both in pro and college, wouldn't you think he knows, hey, our O-line is shit. We're not going to have any sort of ability to develop him or produce with him because we've got this, revolving door puts it nicely in the middle of the,
Revolving door is putting it very nicely. They're
you would think so, but
Well, that's what trips me out about that.
But here's the thing, though. When they drafted Rashad Penny, they had a bad O-line then, but he still, in the first round, was like, let's draft this running back.
Who, by the way, is not the same talent even close to it, Jen.
Oh, you know what? That's a good
No.
point. I forgot they drafted Rashad Penny also. I mean, not obviously not the Raiders, but I forgot they did it while he
Right.
was there. And
Yeah.
I guess it is. Do we know that was a Carroll pick or no?
Oh, it
Penny?
absolutely was. Yeah,
Okay.
Penny absolutely was.
Yeah. It was from like 2018 to 21. Pete was in charge, or not in charge, but he had the final say in drafts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from 22 till now, it's been John Schneider, and the difference is crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Brandon, well, we
Shout out
said
to
it.
Brandon. Or shout out to Brandon. Shout out to Jalen Milrow. There we go.
Jalen Milrow, we're waiting.
Yeah, that was a miss, but anyways.
Hey, jury's still up, but we'll see.
No,
Brandon,
it was a miss.
Can I jump back on? Oh, sorry. Never mind.
give me a second, Scoop. This is pretty breaking here. But Brandon, what do you feel like Pete is disinterested? Like how do you feel? I mean, look, not disinterested enough to get rid of Chip Kelly, but
I mean, disinterested. I mean, to me, he just looks like well. Listen, the guy is in his 70s. He's gonna look like he's lethargic on the sideline. But I mean, I guess, but I mean, at least in Seattle, I mean, when you gotta think about it too, when you've experienced as much success as he has, and taking over pretty much another rebuild project, like you kind of get, you kind of know you're getting yourself into, but you're also tired of having to take on a rebuild project, and at that point, you're kind of just fed up. So I'm like, I would think that there's probably some disinterest there. I mean, honestly, who the hell wants to coach the Raiders? Like, who really does? It's like if that's the choice, only if you have two choices between doing that and never coaching again.
Didn't we do that on this show a few weeks ago? Like, of these crap jobs, which one would you most or least want to take?
Yeah.
And I think we all said the Raiders were like at the bottom.
I can't remember because I also can't remember what the other options were that I was given.
It was like the Jets.
It was like the Jets, Raiders, Saints, and Dolphins.
Miami.
I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Those were the four, and I think we all had the Raiders really low.
I mean, when you look at what they have, right? Like in terms of just not even forgetting, they did, but well, you can't really forget this, but they have an offensive line that's not good. They have a defense that's not good. They only really have three things going for it, and one of them is a rookie running back that can't get going, but it's not his fault. Brock Bowers, second-year tight end.
Who
Fantastic.
they never used under Chip Kelly.
Yeah, for some reason they don't use. I mean, Chip Kelly also hated his tight ends in Philadelphia. That's no surprise. And then you also have now Max Crosby. So you have three guys, one of whom might leave, one of whom's a starter they don't use, and one of them we don't know what he is because he's stuck behind one of the worst offensive lines in football. So even the three guys you have that are worth having on this team, what do you have there? You really don't have any because something's going to happen to all three of them. So
they're all limited in some way.
Yeah. One of them has a foot out the door. One of them can't get going because the offensive line sucks, and the other one is never used. So really, they all have handicaps of some sort. And so if those three guys if that's all you have and nothing else, I'd be disinterested and never want to take that job too. Because you got to think about it from Pete Carroll's position too. If the only choice is between him,
well, also the question is, what is your what alternatives? Like, what are you weighing it against? Like, are you weighing it against, coaching, the Giants, or are you weighing it against working at Kmart? Like, I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking about. It's like I'm like, well, with Pete Carroll, I don't think people are clamoring to have him. So like
the only other interview he had was with Jacksonville. The only other kind of like high profile interview he had.
Okay, I couldn't remember who else was interested in him.
Yeah. So I mean, but still.
But then again, you even had Bill Belichick that only one team kind of wanted, and even that was barely the case with Atlanta.
Like,
With
like,
Atlanta, yeah.
like if those are your only two choices or never coaching again, of course you're going to take one of those two crap teams because you pretty much
Well,
have
yeah.
to. So it's like,
Wait, wait till I talk about the Jags later. Oh,
well, like
Today?
that's
today. Oh my
that's
god.
the problem. Like that's the problem that I have with like bad teams stay bad, which other coaching hires are
Well,
bad.
the bad
Like-
teams stay bad, and that's one of the reasons why I get so pissed off when people say, "Oh, teams don't have a chance to compete because of all the big teams that are doing well." No, it's because you suck at running yours.
Yeah,
It's
like
because
it's
you suck at
just,
drafting, you suck at everything else.
it's such a problem too, and then, like it's just so.
I'm not interested in helping teams that are poorly managed and giving them more resources to poorly manage them.
between having Pete Carroll call a team that has three good players on it, and just a team that's going to be a bottom feeder pretty much for the rest of eternity.
The one thing I will add that they have going for them is Allegiant Stadium. That stadium's fire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only. Is that the only good thing?
But like that's you can put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Like
What the-
like
I love
Uh,
I love that saying, by the way.
but because it's true when it comes to the Raiders.
No,
it's
I
like-
know, I know. That's why I said I love that saying. Like I was here applauding you. I just couldn't show it on the screen.
But like, so it's like if like part of me just if I was in Pete Carroll's shoes, I would feel disinterested. I mean, you're taking over a crap team with no future. That rebuild's not going to take 2 or 3 years. That rebuild's going to take like 5, 6 probably. If you were to rebuild it right with a smart front office and a future. There's no future in there. Like it's funny how their fan base is called the black hole because that's exactly what the Raiders are in general. There's a black hole.
I straight up did not know that was what they call their fan base,
yes.
Like
which is insane to me because I would argue typically a black hole gets sucked in, and so if there's any remnants of it still existing, I would say that's the obvious or the opposite of a black hole.
it's like black hole, bottomless pit of despair, like whatever you want to call the Las Vegas Raiders, or hell, even when they were back in Oakland and that garbage, and their only success was a tuck rule controversy.
I was gonna say I felt bad for the longest time that Oakland lost both the Raiders and the Athletics. I don't know that maybe losing the Raiders might have been a net gain for them. Who knows?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
like,
oh my god.
But that's literally how bad it is. Like when you think about the Raiders, how many players over the last 20, 25 years come to mind? How many?
For the Raiders, like maybe 10, and one of them is because he was an Eagle. And you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, but the only and not for the right reasons.
No, Nnamdi Asomugha.
Yeah. So like you think about all the guys I can remember right now as being a Raider, like guys we heard the names of. How many of them were actually good? Like on this list here, Darren McFadden, nope. Darius Hayward-Bay, nope. Jamarcus Russell, nope.
Oh, Jesus.
Charles Woodson, yeah.
Charles Woodson, yeah.
Amari Cooper, yeah.
Mary Cooper,
But
Michael
Khalil
Crabtree.
Khalil Mack, yeah.
Well, Mac
Like,
Crabtree.
Like
I'll be honest with you. At this point, I remember Khalil Mack best as a Bear.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But once again, Raiders fumbled that one, letting him go.
Amari Cooper.
That's what I
We
said.
already said that.
Like,
I still maintain that the worst move I've seen them make. Was for player personnel wise, because obviously we can talk about coaches, we could talk about front office, we could turn this whole thing into a Raiders show and still be talking at Thursday Night Football.
We could be here all night.
yeah.
But the one thing I was going to say,
For the record, I was not planning on touching the Raiders at all until Chip Kelly got fired.
yeah, no. Well, the only thing I'll say is, how do you take the one pinnacle of consistency and stability you've had over the last near decade and rip that out and bring in the most oft injured recent quarterback in recent memory? And of course, I'm talking about swapping out Derek Carr for Jimmy Garoppolo.
I will never understand. Like
That in particular, I'll never understand.
I and just but it's like when we think about all the players that they've had come through that team in the last 25 years, you can count on one hand, maybe two, how many were actually good. Like not even just great, just good, like just good enough. Like they've had so many flops in the draft. They've had so many they've been a perpetual rebuild pretty much since, outside of that 1 year against the Patriots with the Tuck rule thing. They've been in a perpetual rebuild since what, the early 90s?
I would say since back when they were back in Los Angeles.
Like, yeah, pretty much, that's around that time. So like,
when like Ken Stabler was there.
Yeah, like Jim Plunkett, like those kind of guys.
Yeah, him too.
Yeah, Howie Long, Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, like all those guys. Freaking go back even further, Fred Biletnikoff. Like,
I don't know that name.
What?
Wait a minute.
Wait, say it one more time.
Fred Biletnikoff?
Fred
Biletnikoff. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. I was gonna say you don't know that. Oh, geez.
I heard Fred Biletnikoff, and I couldn't tell what you said.
Yeah. It's the Jersey speak. We speak so fast, but it's like the Raiders just don't get out of their own way. No matter if it's a coaching hire, no matter if it's the front office making mistakes, the players just being bad. Like the Raiders, that's a team that I don't understand how people can still be fans of after this long, because they've been so garbage for so long. Like, at what point do you say enough's enough and I'm just not going to watch football? Like, I've suffered through bad Nets basketball. I watched them maybe for 5 minutes all season. Why the hell, if you're a fan of any of those kinds of teams like the Raiders, the Jets, the Titans, why the hell would you watch anymore? Why would you watch?
I will. Well, I'll say this, and I'll say it from my vantage point, at least. I've been fortunate that most of the teams for whom I've rooted have ended up being pretty good most of the time.
Yeah.
But when I've had teams that have been bad, or my favorite teams have been bad, at least by their standards, when the Eagles were going through their turmoil at the end of the Andy Reid era, when the Yankees were going through their turmoil in those, post core four, mid years, and such, or whatever you want to say. Typically, sometimes I think just as sports fans, we see watching our teams and following our teams as like a point of consistency in a very often changing and unstable and uncertain world. So I think sometimes people just enjoy and take comfort in watching their teams, even if they suck. Because, again, it's something for them to engage with and something for them to at least, feel connected to.
All right. We engage more with the Raiders than I would like, but hey, at least Chip Kelly. No. That's what we should do for this. But Scoop, continue on your Colts point. I'm sorry we had to jump in with. I'm sorry we had to jump in with breaking news, but
anytime Chip Kelly loses a job, I'm good to talk about that. But
oh hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just going to get back to what I was saying here. Because I took forever to find that stuff. And now I just wanted to make sure I had it in front of me before I started yapping. Okay. So the two games that Jonathan Taylor struggled in most this season and was ranked the lowest or rated the lowest this season were week 1 against Miami and week 5 against the Raiders. They played well and scored heavily in both of those games. So I'm not entirely sure that the numbers that I have in front of me that I've been able to find, I'm not entirely sure that they really bear out the allegation that, when he struggles, they can't win. Because I'm looking at 2 games right now where he didn't put up chart very well, and they played perfectly fine and arguably played very well. So, so it's not that I don't even really know that I buy into that second point, Rob, to kind of go back to the 2 points you were making. I don't really buy into that to begin with.
Yeah. Brandon, you've talked about it a lot, so you can kind of go ahead with how you feel on Jonathan Taylor.
They scored a lot of points in that Dolphins game, but that's because the Dolphins were god awful in that game. Tua threw 2 picks and gave a lot of short fields to to the Colts. That's pretty much why the Colts just put an ass whooping on them, more or less. It wasn't so much that the offense did anything because they really kind of didn't. But Daniel Jones in that game had a decent game, but once again, like it wasn't anything like super special. When so that one game against the Dolphins they had when they beat them, like that was a decent one. But I'm looking at like the losses. The three they have 3 losses now, right? So I'm looking at like those games. And when you look at the games that they've lost, it's really been like just when at least the trend I've noticed in the 3 losses, and even some of the wins where they've needed to get wins late in games, whether it's OT or late fourth quarter, the game plan for the Colts, and that's not a bad one to have, especially when you realize, what the Ravens did with Derrick Henry and what the Titans did with Derrick Henry before that, and what the Eagles did with Saquon last year, and all these different things. Hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. I understand that. But that feels like it's the only thing they can do when push comes to shove in a game. They don't actually
push comes to shove.
I kind of noticed like in these Chiefs games when they have to have it and it has to fall on Daniel Jones, he can't he's rattled. He can't complete a pass to save his life. It looks disjointed a little bit. It kind of becomes like Jonathan Taylor or bust. That's what that offense just kind of becomes. And it's, the stat line for Daniel Jones might look good at the end of the game, but when you actually watch him and when they have to have it, if they can't rip off, 5, 6, 7 yards of carry with Jonathan Taylor, they're not winning these games, and they're not scoring a lot really either. So, they're really scoring basically 20 points and that's it. So it's becoming a thing where it's like the one thing I kind of pointed out pretty much since, I guess, week 6 with the Colts, at least around there, is that it's not like, everybody said last year when it came to our offense that it was Saquon or nothing, and that was not true. Because I saw Jalen Hurts close games out. I have not seen once this season yet, at least in the Colts football that I've watched. I've watched enough, but in the Colts football I've watched, Daniel Jones can't close out games. If it's not Jonathan Taylor closing the games out, they're not winning. So it's really tough because you want to have that kind of balanced offense. But when you get to that nitty-gritty part of the game and you have to have it, they're just handing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. And that's it. Like, they are not asking Daniel Jones to throw that football because they're either for some reason they're worried about it, or they just not confident in it, or they just feel like Jonathan Taylor, hey, is the best that we can do in the situation, which is not a bad thing to think. That's true, but like in this game today, 16 carries, 58 yards. When you ask Daniel Jones to throw, like, a lot of his passes, not so much early on, but a lot of the passes late were off target. They couldn't move the ball, and a lot of it was Jonathan Taylor just getting stuffed and having to rely on Daniel Jones to have to throw the ball. Pretty much the Colts offense looked exactly like Philly's today, more or less. And that's just a problem. And then, except one quarterback can throw. The other one I'm not quite sure yet. I'll let you figure out which one's which. But it's tough. And then when I look at that defense, they're another one. That's my biggest problem, I think, with Indy as a whole. It's basically 2 parts of the same problem. Cannot close out games. Indy can't close out games with Daniel Jones having to lead the offense, and their defense, when they need it most, can't close out games either. So that's becoming a real problem because when you can't close, having a full 4 quarters is one thing, and they, and no team really has a full 4 quarters every week. That's just not possible. But the Colts, it's like they can go a whole game where they'll dominate, but it feels like in their losses, it feels like in all 3 losses, they've been slowly bled to death by an opposing team's offense. It feels like it's a touchdown here, a field goal there, another field goal here, then a touchdown late, and all of a sudden you look up with a minute to go in the fourth quarter and the game's tied or they're losing in those 3 losses. So it's really tough for me. It's like can Indy, when Jonathan Taylor gets shut down, can they actually come up with some way to run the offense, whether it's even more, we know Shane Steichen loves RPOs. Can they come up with some more creative ways to run their RPOs? Can they kind of get the ball to Daniel Jones' hands a little bit quicker? Because so far I don't think they've done that. So that's what I get worried about with the Colts. Like,
I'm sorry.
So when you face, so it's like who's better than the Colts right now? Well, Denver is, and New England definitely. Like those two definitely are. New England, Denver absolutely are.
Really quickly on New England, are you guys worried about New England after today? Because I just feel like it was kind of a trappy game, and that's it.
I have to double check what the
It's one
final
game.
score of that game
I'm
was.
not.
Yeah. I'm not
I'm not
worried about it.
game.
I'm not.
I'm not worried either. Plus, I mean, the game was in Cincinnati, and I mean, let's be honest. Joe Flacco is not any slouch of a quarterback.
No, he's
Like,
not.
no.
Yeah.
Like I think people. I don't know when this happened. Joe Flacco kind of feels like Nickelback to me, where it's like it's become where like he was big 20 years ago, and now it's cool to hate on him. And I'm just like, where did this even happen? This will still, like, you go and put on Nickelback in your car, you're still going to have a good time. You go and put Joe Flacco in your offense for a couple games, he'll get the job done. And if you lose, it's not likely to be largely his fault. So,
Yeah. The one thing I'll say on New England that I saw today that I have, let's just say, trepidations on, which is the case for most teams, so I'm not like dismissing it necessarily. I don't think this roster is very good. I really don't.
we talk about you talk about New England.
I don't think this roster is
with
very
you.
good. I don't think this roster is very good.
Drake May. I just think it's Drake May is that good.
No,
Yeah.
and that's my point. What you saw today in that game was Drake May having an off day. They still won because it's the Bengals defense and they're absolutely abysmal. But like this roster, like you saw the shakiness of the rest of the roster. Drake May made some bad throws. He just wasn't comfortable most of the day. Shocking because it's the Bengals, but it happens. It's concerning. That roster, I was like, I'm not terribly worried about the roster. And then today I was like, okay, yeah, that roster is a concern. It
Like
very much is.
You know what's funny to me? It's like, to me, if you put Denver and New England head to head, I'm picking Denver.
Yeah,
because Denver's defense is better, and like as much as I think Drake May is better right now, but not by much, but better than Bo Nix. The Bengals they do have a Super Bowl winning head coach, which matters. But
you're saying the Broncos, right?
yeah, but they also have just their receiving core is better. Their running backs, even though not great, I think are maybe the way they use them is slightly better. I think.
Oh, I hate how they're using the running backs. I think it's stupid.
I don't mind it. I like the kind. Well, I mean now J.K. is hurt, so it.
Oh no, I'm talking about New England. I'm
okay,
pissed
yeah.
at New England.
So I like the way Denver kind of rotates their backs, but also that was before J.K. But even so now they do just enough on the ground game to get it going. I think R.J. Harvey's nice. And if there's one knock I have on the Patriots, it's just like I keep getting in the back of my mind, despite how good they are, despite what the record says, despite how good Drake May is, like despite those good things happening to them, they just feel like they're overachieving heavy. Like it just feels like when I watch them, I don't look at them and I go Super Bowl contender. I'm like good enough to win a playoff game? Yeah. Good enough to win it all? No. Because that roster really is not good.
Yeah,
it's just a bunch of guys having better seasons than what they normally would have.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, Shane, for New England and Indy, are you kind of seeing similar things that we're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, somewhat. I like Indy's roster more. I think it's a little more complete. I don't like the Sauce trade. I never did. I thought 2 firsts for him was ridiculous.
That's crazy. It kind of reminds me of the Jamal Adams deal.
Yeah. And like I'm only trading 2 firsts for a top 5-6 quarterback. Hell, I'd trade more than 2 firsts for that. But that maybe
like would you do it for like an OT or a pass rusher?
Yeah, and that's it. But only like a top 5 or 6 player at the position, and somebody who's under like 27, 28 years old. I would never give up 2 firsts for a corner who I did not think was that great to begin with. He had a great rookie season, but ever since then he's fallen off majorly. And I tried to warn people of this, but everyone said, no, he's great. I'm like, okay. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But so I like Indy's roster a little more. I just think it's, for the most part, it's a little more complete. Especially up front. The only difference is, 2 differences really. The big things. When you look at New England, I like their secondary and their quarterback a lot more. And I also like their coaches a lot more. I think that's the big difference here. Vrabel has proven that he can take a mediocre roster and go far. And Josh McDaniels, obviously not a great head coach, but he's proven himself time and time again as an offensive coordinator. So, I think this is. I think that's the difference here, and why I would probably give a slight edge to the Patriots, just because I think Daniel Jones is fine for Indy, but there's definitely a ceiling. That's not hard to see, right? And so, I would say that's probably the biggest thing, is the quarterback, difference in quarterbacks. Because Drake May, he looks like a top 5 quarterback this season, and that's really without any great weapons. Not an amazing run game to support him. So, I think that's pretty impressive. But yeah. Ultimately, I think, I don't know. I was going to say I see them making it to like maybe the divisional round and then losing. But then I thought about it. I was like, well, who in the AFC is actually better than them? Okay. Because I feel like the AFC as a whole doesn't have the same kind of like dominant teams that the NFC has.
Not even
which
close.
even then, I feel like a lot of the dominant NFC teams are sort of fading away. Really at the moment, it just kind of feels like the Rams and everybody else.
Unfortunately,
and that will change. We still have.
I pray to God it does. I pray to God it does. Oh my God!
Because we only have 6 more weeks, we still have 6 more weeks. A lot can happen in 6 weeks.
6 more weeks of Kevin Couture.
Yeah.
What is this, Groundhog Day? If Patulo saw his shadow, we get 6 more weeks of him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
like Groundhog Day watching this offense do the same damn thing every week.
Oh my God. Scoop, do you want to finish up on New England and Indianapolis?
Yeah, so I'm going to keep talking about Indianapolis for a second, and then I'll, that's where I left off, and then I'll segue into New England. So here's the thing, and this is another point that I'll make about why I don't really buy into the quote unquote the fall off for New England, or that the whole run versus pass dichotomy, etc. So I pulled up EPA as a statistic, which kind of used for in the NFL, similarly to how WAR is used in Major League Baseball. Expected points added. So I kind of looked at that because they break that down for the entire season, each pass play versus each run play. And then you can also correct that for taking out the plays that occur during garbage time. So I did that as well. And basically, when the game's in the balance, most kind of breaks that all down. The Colts offense in passing is ranked 9th out of 32 for plays that happen during that period of time. So these aren't plays that happen when the game's already out of reach. These aren't plays that happen when the other team is already running up and down on them. So the fact that, and again, I know it's only one example. Unfortunately, that's all I can pull up in the middle of the show. But looking at and just kind of extracting that, because I didn't want all that stuff that was happening when the game just didn't matter, and to show how reliable that number is. The running game, in contrast to the running game, the top one was Indianapolis by a long shot. So the fact that, because again, if I had seen a discrepancy where it was, bottom 10 for Indy and then number 1 for the rushing game, then I would, see the issue there. Or if I'm seeing, I'm just seeing, I keep hearing people say this, that, it's the running game that's saving them. Yeah, the running game is that good that they're able to lean into it more. But, they're not doing it because they, quote unquote, have to. They're doing it because they're able to. And I think those are two very different things. I'm kind of reminded of what people used to say last year about, Saquon in Philly. We're not doing it because we have to do it. We're doing it because it works. So it's, I'm not really seeing this whole, I'm obviously not rooting for, Jonathan Taylor to fail or whatever, so that they have to do, put it in Daniel Jones' hands. But I mean, we were talking we've been talking multiple weeks for different teams about how, we don't like seeing guys have to throw the ball 37, 41, 45 times a game. And now it's like we're going to knock Daniel Jones because he hasn't been asked to do that. I don't see the, I don't see the issue with them.
I think what's interesting about it is it's a great example, I think, of how much different, and this is good for both sides, I'm saying, but it's I think it's so fascinating, the analytical side of it, and then the eye test kind of showing these two very different things that
yes.
I think very much describes a lot of how we feel about Indy as a whole when we think about the rest of the AFC, when we think about the rest of the NFL. We think about how they compare to the Rams, right? It is a fascinating discrepancy.
I do think some of this is going to be also because we have so much tape on Jones pre-2025. I do think some of this is going to be his past reputation preceding him. So I do think if people see him have sort of a mid-game or a mid-whatever, I do think people are going to kind of say, oh, you know what, this, here we are. This is more of what we thought we'd see with, New York Giants Daniel Jones. Okay, but also at the same time, that was his regular. Now that's his floor. That's a very different thing. And oh my God, Prince. Sorry, my cat just shot through my legs.
Pringles' cat has been attacking Scoop as much as I could ever describe.
We've heard on Discord too.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh my God.
She should suit up for our D-line because she would bull rush better than anybody I saw today. But,
all right. What do you have to say on New England?
New England. I know. I promise I didn't get off track, but
you're all right.
I did a little bit, but no. So and then shifting over to New England again. I've said it repeatedly. I was not a Drake May fan coming out of college, but again, I'm not going to argue with what's right in front of me in terms of whether it's the tape or the data or whatever. I'm not going to argue with what's right in front of me. And, the fact is, I mean, we already talked about the fact, yeah, sure, they only won by 6 in Cincinnati. They still won in Cincinnati. And again, this game was expected to be about a touchdown win for New England, and that's what it was. I don't think there's anything drastically concerning. I don't even know if that's the word that I would use for the Pats here. I don't. And then if you're going to ask me in terms of how do I feel about them on the whole to start this season, I'll go back to the same information I was using that I just mentioned to the Colts rather. This is a team that I do think is there's a major imbalance between what their passing game's able to do and their rushing game's able to do.
Their rushing game is stupid. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, and again, let's go back the last 4 or 5 years, right? Ever since Belichick left and even before he left. Let's go back. So we would talk about we talk about their game planning, their coaching, their development, and their what they would do in the offseason in both the draft, free agency, trade, whatever. And what we would consistently talk about when it came to offense is almost smells good. We would say consistently talk about in terms of offense was their struggling to get it right, and a lot of that talk was based around the quarterback. But again, a lot of that was also O-line. We keep saying again, when you can't get the O-line right consistently or develop it, or it's not enough depth or whatever, what's that going to hurt? The running game. So now we're seeing the manifestations of some of those things still not coming together. Some of those things still not developing, literally and figuratively in real time, and still trying to get those things to come together. One of the things that's going to manifestly and disproportionately hit is your ability to develop a run game. So I think what you're seeing now is, they seem to have hit on the quarterback play, or the quarterback player, but this is an example now of how just because, and this kind of goes back to, we all hear this, people in these things, and they're always cherry picked about, this quarterback can't put his team, or this quarterback can't put his team on his back, or this quarterback is, a product of the team helping him. This is a great example of why I hate those arguments, because even if you're a quarterback, you're not going to win consistently with nothing around you. You're not.
Yeah, no way.
And this is a great example of that, because this guy is doing as much as he can, literally doing as much as he can, being arguably his team's best passer and rusher, and is just not able to do everything. He even if you ask him to be Superman, that doesn't mean that that's automatically going to be enough to win, especially with some of the teams that the Patriots have to face. Even though Buffalo looks skimpy, they're still not going to be a team you can run over for 30 points. And I know they didn't play Buffalo today. I'm just using them as an example.
Yeah.
But so they are. If you ask me who I'm more concerned about between Buffalo, didn't mean to give Buffalo a stray there, even though they deserve it. If you ask me who I'm more concerned about between Indy and New England, it's definitely New England. Because, and that's just a great example of how, they have the quarterback right. That might be the only thing they have right on offense. That's kind of where I end on that.
Yeah. So New England, their games are Monday night next week against the Giants. Gross. Why is that Monday night? Whatever. Bye week, Buffalo. Okay, that should be interesting. Ravens, who are now leading their division, and the Jets and the Dolphins. Who cares about either of them? So we're going to learn a bit over the next few weeks. Lastly, I'm just going to quickly go over this.
Okay,
I am so done with Trevor Lawrence. That pissed me off.
I've been done.
It took you this long?
Yeah, really.
Okay. Can I explain why it took me this long?
Please.
I'll explain why. There are more moments where he looks really good than he looks. This is going to sound really weird, but watching him is like I look at it and I go, "Oh my god, this is what I saw this is really good. This is what we saw when he came out. Like, he has like so many of these moments where you're like, okay, I see it, right? Like, I totally see it. But guys, this is the Cardinals. This is the Arizona Cardinals, who played two of the worst games I've seen all season the last 2 weeks. You had to deal with them in overtime. And some of these decisions, there were 2 interceptions today that were incredibly boneheaded, which is, hey, you don't see the linebacker right there in front of you moving towards your receiver at all. I don't like, I saw this on Twitter, I saw this on Instagram as well, and I hear it. It's like, when Trevor Lawrence is good, he is incredibly great. He really is. But when he's bad, which he's bad in these crucial situations, it is incredibly bad. And you can't have this dichotomy of this much leeway in the NFL.
He's quality two-face. One side's different than the other. Like,
yeah, and it's like, I get it. No one watched the Jags-Cardinals game. I don't blame you, although it was really good. And it kind of matters for the Jags moving forward. I don't blame you for not watching it. It just, Brandon said, it's literally two-face, and it's insane. Like, it just does not work in the NFL. And I want to believe that Lawrence has more of the up than he has the down, which realistically he does. But these decisions that, look, it didn't cost him the game in the end, but in no way should you be in overtime against the Cardinals. In no way. So this team winning, like, this is a team that can get to the playoffs, especially where the AFC is. They're going to get to the playoffs, and they're going to get routed. They're going to get roasted by like 30 points. I can guarantee it. Almost anybody they play, they're going to get roasted. So that's all I have on them. That's probably all I'm going to have for the rest of the year. Baker Mayfield sprained left shoulder. MRI tomorrow, but that's
I'm actually grateful for that, because we thought it could be a head thing at one point. So if a sprained shoulder is what that's not as bad as we thought it could have been. So obviously,
am I the only one that's out on the Bucks completely?
I mean, I'm not out on the Bucks. I'm not out on the Bucks.
Well,
completely.
no, because they're going to.
I'm out on their. So. Well, okay, I'm out on their defense. That defense is awful.
That's what I'm saying. Their defense sucks. It's garbage.
And they gave up 450 points today.
What?
Or no, 450 yards. Jesus.
I was going to say, if they get 450 points, everybody should be getting fired.
It felt like 450 points.
It did. I'm not completely out on them, because I'm like Scoop, where I think Baker, and we'll see how long the injury is, I think Baker has another level to get to in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But that defense.
But you can't win in the playoffs. You have no defense, and they don't have a defense whatsoever. Their defense is Vita Vea, and that's it. That's all they have. That's quite literally it.
Shane, anything on Tampa?
Well, I mean, I'm not out on them because I mean, unless something crazy happens, they'll win the division. Unless Carolina does something, but
Carolina, yay!
More than likely, Tampa will win, and so then we'll see them in January play whoever's going to be the 5th seed, which it'll probably be Seattle or Chicago. It could be Green Bay. I mean, either way, I don't really love that matchup. Any of those matchups for Tampa. So, and I know. Oh well, the Seattle, or they beat Seattle earlier in the year. It's like, yeah, but that was a close game, and that was 2 months ago. So things change, stuff happens, whatever. But you never know. So,
yeah. Scoop, any other thoughts on Tampa?
Tampa, no. I mean, I still was gonna talk about Jacksonville, but I'll go back to them later. But
you want to do Jacksonville? Is there any much more to say on Jacksonville?
I mean, all I was gonna say was just the fact that when he becomes pressured, he consistently all this time later turns into a pretty much ineffective quarterback.
Massively ineffective.
And noticeably also the left side of the field. I don't know what it is, but the left side of the field is his bugaboo. The left side of the field, he completely turns into a different quarterback when forced to go there. So the defense, you add a quarter, or you overlap a quarterback that can't go against or that can't do it under pressure, and then make it very apparent, that he's that drastic in terms of his shift, in terms of where he's effective in the field, and I guess where he sees the field or where he gets the ball or both. You're going to make yourself and he has made himself an extremely easy quarterback to game plan for.
Yeah. Chip Kelly will make a lot of money, even though he's making $115K per month. Even though he's fired. That's amazing.
I could do that.
All right, we'll finish up. I kind of want to do some post-credit scene stuff.
So then you asked me about Tampa, right?
Yeah. Do you want to do anything more on Tampa? Go ahead, Scoop, before we move forward.
Yeah. So basically, you asked the general question as to if we're out on or one thing or another. Baker is one of the main reasons why I'm going to stay in on Tampa for now. But I do agree defensively. I mean, there are a couple of players I like defensively over there. I do like, Dean, their corner, can do pretty much everything. Tyke Smith over there can do pretty much everything. I still like Winfield over there. I still, you guys talked about Vita Vea, McCall. This is the problem, is that I like their secondary. It's their guys up front that I don't like as much. So I guess it just kind of depends on. Yeah. I'm just saying in a general sense, because I didn't want to go through like every player on defense. We'd be here all night. But yeah, I just kind of figured that it would depend on what kind of situation they ended up in, like who their first draw is in the playoffs. I think is going to be huge, because there are certain teams that I like them matching up against, and there are certain teams that I just don't. So I think that's going to become an issue. But also another thing to keep in mind is how injured they were for so much of the season. I think that was also a factor as well. Not just because of who they had to play, but because of what guys and what areas of the game they had to rely on more to compensate for the fact that some of those other guys were so banged up.
Yeah. All right, let's do post-credit scene. Scoop, we got a major and weird baseball trade. Take the lead there.
Oh my God. I'm not kidding. So we were on Discord. Rob and I were on Discord. I don't remember if Brandon was on at the time, but I know
Brandon
Rob and I were
on
on Discord.
He was there.
Okay.
I was there.
And I literally
I basically told you, I was like, you asked me, I'm like, is this post-credit scene worthy? I was like, I'm not sure. And then when I saw the reaction, I was like, okay, we actually have to talk about this.
Well, here's what I'll say. I had to leave that Discord call because a buddy of mine who's a Mets fan, I haven't talked to this kid since I graduated Seton Hall. Or at least voice. Like I've texted him, but like in terms of like voice and such, I haven't talked to this kid since I graduated Seton Hall, which was almost 4 years ago. And he calls me and he goes, "What the did the Mets just do?" He's a big Mets fan. I literally had to talk this guy off a ledge for 25 minutes about this trade. And I guess he basically was like, "Yeah, my girlfriend doesn't want to listen to me anymore, so you're up next." So yeah, the trade was a straight up trade. It was Marcus Semien sent to the New York Mets in exchange for longtime fan favorite Brandon Nimmo, outfielder, going to the Texas Rangers. So you got one guy who's got 3 years left on his deal, one guy who's got 5 years left on his deal. You, as the Mets, you need outfielders, so you're trading away Nimmo. As the Rangers, you need infield, and you're trading away Marcus Semien. Yep. No part from either side, financially or roster construction wise, makes one damn bit of sense.
Okay, let me counter the financial thing. Does this help the Mets get Kyle Tucker at all?
If you had to move Brandon Nimmo to help you get Kyle Tucker, then Steve Cohen really, really pulled one over on the Mets in terms of trying to be the 2025 or the 2020s version of George Steinbrenner. If you had to trade a fan favorite to be able to afford one big name player, or big contract player. I know that they signed Juan Soto to that disgusting number last year. I'm not saying disgusting because he left the Yankees. I'm saying disgusting because $805 million is too much for any professional ball player. But
especially him.
Yeah, especially a guy who can't field until this year couldn't run the bases. But anyway, I don't want to sound like the salty Yankees fan when I'm here to talk about the Mets and the Rangers. But I looked at this from so many different angles, and it's like I've seen trades happen where it's like I don't understand why that team would do it. That team made out like bandits. I don't understand why either team made this move. Either one. I don't know why the Rangers did this. I don't know why the Mets did this. I'm looking at this from it just looks like these two people were bored and decided let's make some headlines before Thanksgiving. It's like
let's do it. Let's do it in the middle of an NFL Sunday.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it looked like. It looked like these two GMs were bored and wanted the attention on them. That's literally all. That's all that I see as this deal making sense. Because I sure as shucks, if I'm an MLB GM or if I'm a GM in any sport, I'm not trading away from something that I'm trying to add, and I'm sure as shucks not trading for something that I don't need. Like that's fireable offense in terms of this is the complaint that I was making about the Baltimore Orioles the other day, who traded for Tyler Ward when they have a glut of outfielders, and who traded away Grayson Rodriguez when they already are trying to get new pitching. I think that the New York Mets have moved beyond being compared to the Baltimore Orioles, or at least I thought they had. Like I am still not understanding this. I can't wait to get the press conferences from both Chris Young and Dave Stearns to kind of see what the logic was.
I guess we're gonna have to do an update on this post credits in a couple days.
I'm kind of curious to see what that would be, because honestly, it would be most believable if I just heard, we both were hanging out and just had one too many Hennekens. That kind of would be the most believable and most plausible. Course.
Drink some Heineken Zero. Help yourself out.
Yeah, but I don't know. Nothing. And then there was a report from, I don't remember who it was, but there was a report from somebody who said it hasn't been confirmed if other names are in this deal. So then I heard, okay, that makes some sense depending on what the other pieces are that go back, one way or another. Because we've seen that happen. We saw that happen between the Blue Jays and the Rockies a couple of times, where they made deals where there was a headliner going each way, but then other guys filled in later. But no, then it was later confirmed that this was a 1-for-1 swap, and I'm back to being what the. Because again, just from a 30,000 feet, because again, this doesn't affect me as a Yankees fan, just from somebody who has followed baseball and followed the business of baseball for about a decade and a half now, or close to it. Excuse me. Most of the trades that I see are to do one of three things: to do something financially, to do something for your roster, or to set up another move. I don't see the angle either team financially, because both of these are multi-year contracts. So unless
the only financial angle is Mets and Kyle Tucker, but as you said, what the hell does that even mean?
Well. So here's what I'm looking at, because one of these guys, because again, one of these guys is on a 3-year, one of these guys are on a 5-year. So you're doing this to get ready for 2030 free agency? Like, that makes no sense. So that didn't make sense. I already explained why the roster construction doesn't make sense. So now what I want to do is see what both of these teams do after this, because that is the only thing that I can come up with, is that there are other moves waiting. It better be for both sides, but at least for one side, that this trade was made to kind of set up. Because otherwise, again, in sum up, otherwise makes no sense because of contracts and because both teams traded away something they already needed more of to trade for something they already had a surplus of, which just takes, it might as well take the business administration degree that I got and just say, I don't know, apparently you can get an MLB GM role without this, because clearly neither one of these is taking these classes, because this isn't consistent with any of that.
Well, clearly no one's put 500 hours into OOTP to realize how stupid this is. as you have.
OTP. I'm not even going to look at how many hours I've put into that because it would probably disgust my whole family.
Brandon, any thoughts on this trade? Probably not as different as Scoops.
So it's not just for the monetary reasons or for just fit reasons, basically because the Mets are trading for something that they don't need, and the Rangers are trading for something that they don't need, or at least don't need as much. You basically just 1-for-1 for positions of that were not of need, and when you need the opposite of what you traded for, like Scoop was saying, and not just that, you look at both these guys. Roughly when you just take the numbers right in front of your face, just the on the surface numbers, same production, like basically same players production wise, and then, but Marcus Semien's older. Marcus Semien's 35. He's had 2 down years in a row, so this makes no sense more for the Mets than anything else because here's another problem too. So what you do is.
Excuse me.
You then so you bring in Marcus Semien. So you lose Nimmo in the outfield. So now you're obviously you're down an outfielder, and so if this is to get Kyle Tucker, this is almost the same exact reason why I have to bring up the Yankees in this. Why the Yankees shouldn't get someone like a Kyle Tucker. Juan Soto the last 3 years of his career, minus 2023. So 3 out of the last 4 years of his career. He's predominantly been a right fielder. You should probably keep him in right field. You'd be moving him to left and bringing Kyle Tucker in to play right because Kyle Tucker can only play right field, which honestly might end up being better in the long run. But then either way, you're suffering defensively. So now you've kind of lost that part of it. You traded for a guy who's not just aging, who's basically in the last. Maybe a year or 2 of his career, so making no sense there. And then you've got, and it's something that you don't need because your infield is already, granted, we'll see what happens with Pete Alonso, but you have an infield now where you have, pretty much all your positions are set. Like even before this, your positions are mostly set. So I'm not quite understanding it from the Mets side more than the Rangers. But even with the Rangers, Brandon Nimmo's been good. He's been a good baseball player, not a great one. And given where the Rangers are right now, it's like, is that really going to help you do anything? No. And now you're kind of stuck with a weird contract. I think there's years on that deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Which deal are we talking about?
Nimmo's.
Yeah, there is. That's what I said. There's multiple. There's at least 3 years on each, and one of them was 5.
That's crazy that even Semien would have that many years. So no matter which way you slice it, it's just a bad deal. Like who knew that a 1-for-1 would be bad? This is a deal where not even you could just argue it was a wash because it was a stupid move. You can argue that both sides got worse.
Just to clarify, Nimmo's the one with 5 left on his deal, and Semien was the one with 3, which is what I thought, but I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, even so, that's a lot of years of either guy, really.
And and I want to add this, but I'm going to wait until you're done.
Yeah, like the last thing I'll just say, I started to say it was, it doesn't help either team compete. The Mets missed the playoffs they missed the postseason last year with one of the highest, was it a payroll to revenue thing in the MLB? It was like they had the highest payroll, whatever it was, or payroll that went back into the team and didn't make the postseason or something like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They were what, a game away?
Yeah, they missed it by a game.
Yeah, because the other 2 of the top 3 teams were the 2 World Series teams, Toronto and LA, which is why I said that is the World Series we should have gotten.
And that's why I'm thinking right now. So if this move was to basically pay for Kyle Tucker in the long run, so you have Soto, Kyle Tucker, Semien on the bench.
If you had to trade arguably the face of the franchise or a face of the franchise for the better half of a decade to be able to afford one big bet on free agency, then I'm sorry. That is some Will Pony and shit. And they really got the Mets fans really got screwed by bringing in Steve Cohen to make a type of move like that.
That's why I told Mets fans, I said, I kept telling them, like, listen, your boy, the guy you affectionately call, Daddy, Uncle Steve or
Uncle
Daddy
Stevie.
Cohen, it's like, he's not the guy you think he is.
I was one of them. I was defending him because I liked what he was doing the first few years that he was there.
Yeah, it's like at first it's all nice because you finally have an owner that's willing to open the checkbook and whatnot. The problem is he's opening the checkbook for all the wrong reasons, and for all the wrong players. So it's not it's nice to be able to spend to get players that are of need or hey, if you do have a chance to have a luxury player, then every once in a while do that. But when you're basically splurging on nothing but luxury players, it doesn't work. That's not how that's not gonna. Go ahead, Scoop. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and here's what I want to add on this. So now you've got Simeon, presumably will play second.
Yep.
And you got Lindor at short. Yep. So I'm presuming McNeil is going to go to the outfield.
Yeah,
because otherwise, do you now make McNeil expendable? Because if you're now trading both McNeil and Nimmo in the same offseason, your fans are going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't bring back at least one of Diaz or Alonso, like you're basically rebuilding without saying you're rebuilding.
Yeah.
At that point,
which doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. It just makes no sense.
Shane, what are your thoughts?
I mean, these guys said it perfectly. Like,
thank you.
It's yeah. The biggest thing is defensively. I don't understand it, but
yeah. Typically, if you're trading to improve your defense, you don't swap 35-year-old for 32-year-old. Typically, those guys are not who you're looking to improve your defensive athleticism and prowess.
Yeah. But, anyways.
Yeah.
I wish I knew.
Okay, Scoop, I'm going to piss you off with one of our last two post-credit scenes. And probably Shane as well.
Great, I'm exempt for once.
Yes. A Labubu movie is officially in the works at Sony.
Actually, that does piss all of us off. That's bad enough.
Halloween was 4 weeks ago, brother.
Yeah. So we're getting a Labubu movie.
I'm pretty sure if I die in my sleep, it's going to be because of one of those things.
Shane, of course this is a Sony movie, right? Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the only other studio that would make this is Illumination.
I don't even know who either one of those are. I mean, I know who Sony is. I don't know what
Illumination is Despicable Me. Despicable Me. Okay. Illumination.
But also, like, what else did they make that was really crap? I can't even think of it right now.
Didn't they make like the Dr. Seuss animated reboots?
Yeah.
Oh yes, the Bad Grinch animated movie.
It's fine.
No, it's not.
And like the Lorax too, or was that something else?
No, that was something else.
No, that was before. But they made Despicable Me and a bunch of crap.
Illumination also did the Mario film.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I haven't seen the Mario film,
which wasn't terrible, but
no, not at all.
Yeah, no, it's Labubu. God, I don't understand where these things just suddenly came from.
I don't know either.
Like all of a sudden,
I love that Scoop is afraid of them.
I think they are kind of unsettling.
I mean, they've been haven't they been a thing in the Asian countries for like years?
Yeah. Okay. So pick Rob. Stay with me on this. So you got these dolls have eyes that are 80% the size of their head. They got eyebrows that dip like this, like Psychos. They got fangs, and now you're gonna bring that up to IMAX to life size. what part of that is supposed to be? Oh, that's cute.
I should make Scoop see this movie in IMAX.
When did I hurt you, Rob?
No, I'm kidding. I don't want anyone to see this movie. This is stupid.
I just know my best friend in New Jersey is gonna freaking drag me up to see it.
No way.
You don't know her. She would pay for my ticket to make me come up there and see this.
Okay. Next up, this is another thing I found before the main thing.
Please not something to piss us all off again.
Oh, you hurt my heart by saying the main thing. That's what my quarterback says.
Churches adopt AI-powered chatbots, letting members interact with an AI Jesus for confession and spiritual guidance.
Oh, I forgot about that. You sent me that. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, you know what? I actually hate that more than the little boo boo thing.
I love the comment underneath it is even better. It says, I haven't been a Christian since I was a child, but even I am like 99.99% sure this is a sin.
Like, doesn't that literally Pringles, stop trying to eat the candy cigarettes.
What?
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no. Okay, continue, Scoop.
Look, I'm thinking to the Ten Commandments. I'm thinking should not worship anything but should not worship any but the one God. And I'm just thinking to myself, this feels dangerously close to violating that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That just... Okay, here's the real question, though.
Oh, God.
Is,
No pun intended.
is the Jesus in this AI thing... First of all, that's not something I ever thought I would say in my life.
What the fuck?
Is this AI Jesus? Does he look like Jesus should look, or does he look like Ewan McGregor? Because
That's a good point.
Because a lot of time,
my
because
God.
look, not to get in a whole political, cultural thing, but in Western society, Jesus is often portrayed as
Yeah.
a white guy with long blonde hair, but we know that he was obviously not that because,
Yeah,
I mean,
no way.
the guy was from the Middle East. He, probably had, not probably, he absolutely had tan skin and black hair. Like, okay. But that leads me to wonder. I'm like, okay, but is this AI Jesus in this confession? Is he going to be authentic Jesus or fictional Jesus?
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if it was Ewan McGregor's? If it was an Ewan McGregor looking thing, it'd be like,
Hello there. You here to confess your sin?
I can just imagine you walking in there and be like, "Give up, Apostle! I have the high ground now."
Okay.
Like,
Rob, does it have the link for that? Because I want to see if it's the same thing I just found.
What? The link for the AI Jesus?
He could, and then he could do a mantra.
There's no link. It's just this random thing I found on Instagram.
Okay, because I found a link that's literally the JesusAI.com. And
what? That's a website.
let me add. It says the generated content is for educational purposes only and may contain inaccuracies and biases. You're putting up something that is an AI for one of the perhaps the most known religious figure in history, and
he is the most known.
Yeah, and I was trying to be somewhat general there, but
oh yeah,
and openly admitting it may contain inaccuracies or biases. That should have stopped this whole thing from the start.
Yeah, right then and there. Like, oh God.
No, I mean, like, objectively, factually speaking, the most famous person in history is Jesus, and the second most famous is Muhammad. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't. But yeah, anyways.
All right, hold on a second. I'm gonna.
And then Ewan McGregor, Jesus, can do the Jedi mind trick on you.
Oh.
You can confess your sins, and he could be like, "You'll go to hell for that," and you're like, "I'm going to hell for that."
I'm actually glad you read that, because now the choking to the Cowboys is now not the thing that irritated me the most yesterday.
Someone should literally make a meme. It's like me. It's like me and AI Jesus. The me is Anakin burning from the waist up pretty much, sitting there, and AI Jesus is the one saying, I have the high ground. It's over thing. So it's like, I would love for someone to make a meme like that. That'd be fantastic.
The next thing is also AI. A Disney star just launched an AI app that brings back the dead. So basically, you can have conversations with like your dead relatives.
Yeah,
it's incredibly creepy.
Yeah, you sent that one earlier in the week, and I actually watched whatever commercial that was. That ad.
I watched it. The ad is awful.
Oh my god! I would never. I hope it never sees the light of day actually on TV. I hope it hasn't yet.
It has. It's a thing about to be. It's an app. You can, or it's about to be.
Has it been on
It's
TV
an app.
yet?
It's an app. You can download on your phone.
Oh my god!
The fact that there's gonna be people out there who are gonna be like genuinely thinking that this is they're gonna think this is basically almost exactly the same thing as talking to their actual and that makes me I hate where AI is right now.
Saying anything there?
About what? Like where AI is right now?
No, just you want
That's
to talk
such a
to your
loaded
dead
question,
relatives
Oh,
with AI.
not like that. I like to. Okay, this is gonna get a little deep for a second. I like when it comes to like communicating with like a dead relative. I like when it happens in a dream.
Yeah,
That's
you know.
good.
yes.
That's very
Because
good.
then like
Yeah.
that feels, because if I'm talking to AI, that would feel so unnatural because it's not them. It's
Because it is unnatural. That's exactly
the
why
robot.
it feel that way.
It's funny
pretending to be them.
It's funny you bring that up though, because the best night's sleeps I've ever had, and I haven't had many in the last 8 years. The best night's sleeps I've had since my dad has passed have been the times where he's visited me in my dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can I get to this?
But it's
quicker?
funny because every time I dream of like a dead friend or relative, in the dream I'm always like, wait, I thought you were dead. And I get really confused. And no, seriously, that's my honest reaction. I'm like, wait, you're alive? And I get like really confused. But then I'm just like, all right, whatever.
All right, we're gonna keep going. Brandon, you want to read this one? This is stupid.
Oh god! All right. Monster Energy set to launch female-focused energy drink line called what is it? Is Flirt? That's what it is.
Flirt. It's called Flirt. It's a woman's energy drink. What the hell? What are
Wait a
we
minute.
doing?
Energy drinks are just like kind of like a one-size-fits-all thing. No, aren't they?
Yes.
So why do we need a female one? What does that do? Like, does the regular one have a ton of testosterone while this one has a lot of estrogen? What's the difference here? Like, I'm not quite sure what the difference is with this.
Yeah, look at the comments. I just want to know who was sitting in on these strategy meetings. No one asked for this stuff, bro. Why are we over here gendering drinks? Like, I don't know who. I don't know. That's the only thing I can say is I don't know, because why? Like the fact that there are actual issues that this brain power, time, energy, and resources could have gone towards, and they went to this crap that people actively don't even say they don't even want. Like, I just want to know where they actually got the marketing research that showed, yes, this has actually potential and has interest.
You know what's funny? The best part about this too says, "I'll put money." The comment says, "I'll put money on men being the main buyers just for the new flavors."
True. Yeah.
Probably.
That would not surprise me at all.
Shane, you have anything to add?
It reminds me of the pink drink at Starbucks, where it's
I like that drink.
that's
So do I.
something that only women get.
Yeah, that is true.
You know,
Kind of.
And well, it's funny though, because I was like, an old girlfriend worked at Starbucks, and she's like, "Oh, you should try it. It's good." And I made a joke like that. I was like, don't you have to be a woman to drink this? Just because that's like, which again, completely
No,
a
man,
joke.
man, that shit's good as hell.
It is
But
good.
she's like,
Okay,
no, you know. But so then I tried it, and then this was before I realized I had issues with caffeine, and then I was like heart racing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, when you
shaking.
said that,
She-
she's
she's like, "How was it?"
It was a joke.
No, yeah, she's like, how is it? And I'm like, oh,
Died. Yeah, I almost died.
okay, I'm
like,
gonna read
yeah,
this
that's
whole.
pretty good.
I'm gonna read this whole thing because this is probably the best post credit scene we've ever had. This
Oh,
one
God.
thing was
boy.
amazing. A 36-year-old man in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. So this is in Canada. Allegedly stole a public bus while the real driver stepped off. Hang on. Rather than driving off aimlessly, he stayed en route, making all the usual stops. He even picked up drivers, charging fares and letting people on, just like a legitimate driver. At one point, he collected money from a passenger whose transit pass had expired. The joy had lasted long enough for news crews to get wind of it. Eventually, officers intercepted the bus and removed him. Luckily, no one was hurt. So this is from Puberty. So this guy decided to steal a bus.
I'm about 94%.
Normally.
I'm about 94% sure this was an episode of Seinfeld.
Nope, this is real. This happened.
No. I'm saying I'm about 94% sure this happened in an episode of Seinfeld. Like,
I assume it did. But yeah, so this guy decided, hey, let me steal this bus and do everything normally for hours.
I mean, at that point, that's a good way to take a job by force. Hey, if I can't get a job these days, I'm gonna take it.
I'm
Go
going
get
to be
it.
a bus driver.
Hey,
I mean, that's also a pretty good way to be inconspicuous. I mean, people would probably have had more questions if there was a bus just sitting outside of the Bellagio.
I'm just so what was his so he does everything normally. If the cops didn't get him, what was his plan after that?
go home.
Like go
I
home
mean,
with the
why did
giant public
No,
bus?
wait.
Yeah.
Could you imagine though, like taking the bus, doing all the round trips, but then actually to stay in character, going to like wherever that
Yeah, the bus depot.
the bus
parking
depot,
lot.
clocking out for work and going home. Could you
That
imagine?
might have been what he thought about, or what he was planning to do.
The other question I have
Because
is
the guy doesn't seem dumb.
the other question I have is the guy that walked off the bus, and then saw that the bus was leaving, or however the hell did it. Like, how the hell did how did he react? I guess is the question.
Wait, what did he walk off for again?
No, okay, and we're this is our last thing, so we're about to hop off right now after this, but. The question is so the guy because sometimes bus drivers they have to walk out and check something in the back of the bus or whatever the hell, right? So that's basically what happened. Then this guy decides to stroll up into the bus, probably turn the ignition on, and drive away. What happened to the actual bus driver? Because he wasn't on the bus.
Like
That's
That is
the
a
one
good
part
question.
that I'm confused about.
but could you imagine
The one part you're confused on?
That's the biggest part. It's
could
like,
you
what
imagine,
happened
though?
to the guy?
Could you imagine though if he was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna take a piss break real quick. He comes back 2 minutes later. Where's the bus?
Where's my bus?
He comes back like, I thought I left it right here. Where is it?
I mean, yeah, being able to just lose a whole ass bus.
Yeah, that'd be a little awkward.
My God, can
How
you
do you
imagine?
explain, how do you explain that to your boss?
I was gonna say, can you imagine calling your supervisor? You're not gonna believe this, but I lost the bus.
It's like
I
who
love-
was it on that show? Was it? I don't know. He would always say, "You're not gonna believe this." Like, he would say that all the time.
But I lost the bus in the middle of my route. By the way, I don't recommend doing this. but I've actively thought about how easy it would be to steal a public bus. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
You realize we're live, right?
I know, but genuinely, it's not that hard because they walk away all the time at the bus depot. You could theoretically just walk in. This is what this guy did.
I'm aware it's what this guy did.
But I'm like,
I don't take public
Also-
buses, so I couldn't tell you.
but again, like, what do you think was gonna happen? He took the giant bus, a public transit bus.
That's just funny.
I don't understand.
like
Me neither.
and you know what's funny is like so
How did he
so
even work the signs? He has to work the signs somehow.
what I want to know is how is like by the time that the cops got out there to go get him and the time that they actually got him and then took him off the bus and whatnot, how long did that take? Because I want to wonder. Like
I bet it
wonder-
was a few hours.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say that must be the slowest pursuit ever. Or either that or this is like the plot of Speed.
I was just gonna say that.
where the bus can't dip under a certain mile per hour.
It can't go slower than 50 miles an hour, or it'll blow up.
Yeah. I mean, it had to. He had to make stops. So I'm assuming that this chase for him, this hunt for him, was the slowest chase ever possible. And like
Is
for
it-
a cop chasing down a suspect.
It was like the OJ chase.
That's where my brain went.
Like I mean, honestly, I'd pay money to see the footage of that chase. Can you imagine trying to chase down a bus that's moving at like that 30 miles an hour, and they can't do it?
Excuse me
Oh
again.
my god!
I think this guy got inspired by like GTA or Watch Dogs or something, where you have to do like missions, where you actually drive a taxi or drive a bus, and you have to actually do the stops.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Who knows? Who knows?
I love that this was in Canada. Just the most just freaking random Canada.
The only other place I would have believed more than Canada for this to happen would have been Florida.
Well, what I want to know is when the cops find.
This is in Hamilton. This is in Hamilton. Hamilton is a pretty big like part of Ontario.
You know
This
what
is
I
not
wanna-
like
You know what I want to know since they're all Canadian. Well, we would assume so. That did he apologize? Did he say sorry after taking the bus?
sorry I took your bus.
Probably that's like
Sorry about that.
That'd be a very Canadian
Yeah.
thing to do.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, like when he does take the bus, does he tell the passenger sorry as he's taking the bus? Like sorry.
I guess the other I'm very curious to know how many years in jail this guy got for doing it.
I
Like
mean,
he did anything harmful.
he completed the route. This
This mission accomplished.
successfully.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that, eh?
it was
Like-
still successful. So like, just give him a fine and move on. I guess.
Or like, does he do they like bring him back like the bus driver? Does he apologize to him like, hey, sorry, I took your bus? Like, how does that work? Like, that's
No idea.
so awkward. It's so awkward and weird. Oy.
But yeah,
Well, sorry about that.
Canada. All right. Well, peace out, everybody. For Scoop, for Shane, for Brandon, for myself. We'll see you tomorrow for Panthers 49ers, guys. Gross. We'll see you then.
We
Peace
gotta
out,
stop. We gotta stop calling these things primetime football games.
They are. And then we're also doing 310 to Yuma, which I'm very excited about.
That's
There
a lot
we go.
better.
That's a lot better. A lot better. All right. Peace out, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, Moon.
Not everybody.